Champion San Diego Sockers. KUSI TV 51 Sports presents the San Diego Sockers versus the Baltimore Blast. Today's game is brought to you by Goodyear and the Goodyear Eagle Radial, the best-selling performance radial in the world. And now, here's the voice of the Sockers, Dick Calvert.
Tonight, from the Baltimore Arena, a matchup between the Major Soccer League's perennial finalist, the defending champion San Diego Sockers, and the runner-up Baltimore Blast. A very pleasant good evening, everyone, and welcome to TV 51's continued coverage of this fascinating game of indoor soccer. Well, it was just 24 hours ago. The Blast and the Sox both had a share of their respective division leads. But last night up in Cleveland, Baltimore dropped one to the Crunch by a score of 9-3 in a game that saw 9 separate Cleveland players score goals in that one. And down in St. Louis, the Sox dropped one to the Storm by a count of 2-1. And so far, that's been the lowest scoring game in the league thus far. So when the Sox and the Blast go head-to-head tonight here in the arena, they'll be trailing their division leaders by one full game. The season, these clubs have met 3 previous times. And you can note that all 3 matches have been one-goal affairs. And all, by the way, have gone to the visitors. By virtue of San Diego's 2 wins in this building, they lead the series 2-1. Offensively for the Sox, Brian Quinn leads the San Diego team. He continues, I should say, to lead the San Diego team with 43 points. But look at 32 assists in only 22 games. And if you look at the Quinsters' total, 43 points in 22 games, that's virtually 2 points a game. Paul Daugherty has been definitely a surprise for Ron Newman's side. Paul scoring 39 points, 27 goals, leads the club in that department. His buddy Wad Hermes is having another solid season, 26 goals and 9 assists. Wes Wade and Paul Wright are in there too. The Jet, by the way, with 37 points. Actually, he's 2 ahead of Wad Hermes, isn't he? 21 goals and 16 assists, so that's a lot of consistency from the guy who possesses the most speed of anybody in this league, and everyone's favorite, Wes Wade, with a solid 21 points. And by the way, there are 6 other Sockers with 10 or more points. Meanwhile, take a look at the Blast scores now. White Shoes' Billy Ronson leads all with 49 points. Billy's having a tremendous year, 25 goals and 24 assists. That is consistency. Dominic Mobilio right behind him with 47 points. Timmy Whitman has been hot lately. He and Dale Mitchell have been scoring a lot of goals. Mitchell with 42 points on the year. And the longtime veteran of the Blast, Tim Whitman, with 35. Mike Stankovic solid in there with 11 goals and 21 assists. You know, in soccer, it's no different than any other sport. Special teams play a most important role. The Sox are top of the league in both special team categories now. A league-leading power play percentage of 52.3% overall, and a whopping 18 goals and 27 attempts at home when they are in the man advantage. Meanwhile, when shorthanded, the no-goal patrol has allowed just 12 opponents' man advantage goals in 44 attempts. And a side note to this all, if you take the 52.3% efficiency, that's on the power play, add it to the 72.7% penalty killing, that totals 135%. 30% higher than most coaches in this league feel that is required to have good special team effectiveness. So you can see the Sox power play and penalty killing unit just outstanding. So the numbers are in, but the ones that count the most are the ones that are on the scoreboard at the end of the game, and hopefully your side has at least one more than the opposition. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us, because coming up, the Sox, the Blast, it's live. It's next.
MSL Soccer. Tonight, your Baltimore Blast and all San Diego Sockers.
And welcome back to the Baltimore Arena. An appropriate, I guess an appropriate flag to be shown at this time of the year, as we are a little delayed in our opening here. Our game between the San Diego Sockers and the Baltimore Blast. They had a little bit of a mechanical difficulty, I understand, in getting the props ready for the Baltimore Blast opening, and so that has delayed things. The San Diego Sockers presently are being introduced down on the field. As you can see there, Wad Hermes coming out. It's going to be an interesting game because we're going to have quite a change in the goals for both the San Diego Sockers and the Baltimore Blast tonight. For the first time in 30 games, it will not be the hard-working Victor Noguera in nets for the San Diego Sockers. Instead, it'll be the 29-year-old rookie Sava Biller starting for the San Diego Sockers. Ron Newman felt this was the ideal time to give his hard-working goalkeeper Victor Noguera a rest. Of course, Victor is just having an outstanding year, 29 consecutive starts, and Victor still has a chance to equal or eclipse the consecutive games played, because he's not played tonight. If he does get in at a short time, it would be a consecutive game streak intact. But his start record, or the chance to beat Alan Mayer's 33 consecutive starts, will be out the window tonight. And on the other end of this floor here in the Baltimore Arena, a short floor I might add, 176 long by about 82 wide, Scott Manning returns to the wickets for the first time in 5 games. Young Hank Henry has been doing the work in goal for the Baltimore Blast, and good work, I might add. In fact, he won the Player of the Week honors 2 weeks ago. But young Hank played last night in Cleveland and allowed 9 goals in that one. And Scott Manning, coming off of his strained right knee, will try to make it a go tonight. So that'll probably be the biggest thing that that we have going into this game tonight. Sava Biller for the San Diego Sockers in the nets. By the way, the San Diego Sockers are at home for 6 home games in February, beginning next Friday, as they host the Wichita Wings. And then on Thursday, the 7th, they'll be playing the Dallas Sidekicks. Now, both games will start at 7:35, and tickets, of course, on sale at the Sports Arena box office or at all Ticketmaster locations, or you can call 278-TIXS. Come on out and see the San Diego Sockers, San Diego's winningest team, of course. And that's at the Sports Arena. Like they say, get up and go, San Diego. Sox home to open the month of February. They've had a marvelous month of January and a great December as well. Only 2 losses and 6 wins in December, and going strong in January. They are 5-2 with this last game remaining in the month of January. Let's talk a little more about this young goalkeeper. There's an interesting story behind him. Like I told you, he's 29 years of age. He comes off the developmental squad of the San Diego Sockers. He was born in New York, grew up in the Los Angeles area, was discovered by Sox assistant coach Eric Geyer. You remember Peter Skouras? Peter Skouras, a former San Diego Soccer player. Well, Sava's a good friend of his, and believe it or not, was painting houses up in the LA area when Eric discovered him. He's had some experience over in Greece. He was a member of the AEK team, and then also had a trial with the reserves of the English 3rd Division team Bournemouth. And he played in 1988 with the Santa Barbara team in the then Western Soccer League, but has no indoor experience prior to being signed in December by the San Diego Sockers. Sava Biller tonight. I talked to Eric Geyer the other day, and Eric did tell us that the young man has been working double duty, both with the reserves and with the full team. So we're about ready to have the singing of our national anthem here in the Baltimore Arena. So let's join the rest of the folks here in the arena for the singing of our national anthem.
And now to honor America, the Bel Air High School Choir will sing our national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous
most sporting events around the country, you can see the swell of patriotism as the national anthem being sung here by a young choir. That's Toros Kabrichin. He will be one of 3 arbitrators tonight. The man to his immediate right will be working with him, and that is Felix Folksman. Those 2 guys will run the floor. Toros Kabrichin and Felix Folksman. The other referee that'll work in the box, the assistant off referee, will be Bill Lohr. Ron Newman heading for his 8th All-Star game. Last night, Ronnie said that, and he was quoted saying he should have gone to the super power play, trailing 2-1 late in the 4th quarter, but he decided not to, and the San Diego Sockers unable to convert in a man advantage, losing that 2-1 verdict to the St. Louis Storm. There is Sava Biller. Sava Biller, who wears a headband to keep a whole gaggle of hair out of his eyes, starting his first indoor soccer game. 29 years old, no stats on him. Of course, this is his first ever soccer game, and you can imagine he might be a little nervous. On the other end of the field, and the other end of the spectrum, would be Scott Manning. Scott Manning, a veteran of play in the indoor wars. Scotty, of course, has been around an awful long time. 33 years old, out of Rochester, New York, and Scott comes in with a 5.89 goal against average. He is 8-8 on the year, and this will be his 17th start. Ron Newman and his opposite number tonight, Kenny Cooper, heading for the All-Star game once again. Kenny will coach the Eastern squad, and Ron Newman will head mentor the Western squad. Kenny, of course, was upset last night, his team losing for the 2nd time up in Cleveland by a considerable margin. He was beaten 11-2 the last time they were in prior to last night, and then, of course, 9-3 last night. He said, we had no good performances at all last night. Look at that coat, because it won't be on for long. Kenny will have that off, and he really digs in. Kenny's assisted by Jim Pollahan, veteran of the MISL and NASL wars, an assistant coach, a television commentator, a general good guy. We had the opportunity to call last year's All-Star game on the radio with Jim Pollahan. Jimmy assists Kenny Cooper, and of course Ron Newman has his assistant coach at his side. He might not be in the game tonight, and that's the Quinster. Brian Quinn got a kick from Brian Schmetzer last night down in St. Louis. May not make it tonight, so he might be in that role right there, standing to the left of head coach Ron Newman as an assistant coach. And of course, the Sockers have another fine, able-bodied man that's an assistant coach back home in Eric Geyer, the creator of Sava Biller. Of course, besides being an assistant coach, Eric is also the director of player personnel development, player development. So it's Eric Geyer's find tonight that'll be starting in the nets. So far, Ron, who looking over his lineup, he wasn't sure if Quinny could go tonight, and by the looks of things, that doesn't look like sweatpants on. So I think Brian has decided that not only the kick in the calf last night, but he also has a pretty nasty groin that he got Wednesday in training. So we're about ready to start. Branko Segota shaking hands with fellow Yugoslavian Mike Stankovic for the homestanding blast in the white jerseys. They'll start with Mark Metrick and Mike Stankovic, Timmy Whitman, along with Dale Mitchell and Billy Ronson up front. The Sockers will go with Segota, Wad Hermes, Paul Wright, Alex Golovnia, and the perennial all-star defender Kevin Crow at the back. Sox going from right to left and score off the kickoff as Paul Wright continues to blaze, putting the ball in the back of the net, and that's worth looking at once again. That will be the fastest goal probably in the history of the MISL, or make it the MSL. Boy, that couldn't have been more than 3 seconds, if that much. The kickoff, one bounce on the half volley with the right foot, and Paul Wright says, hello, Baltimore. Scott Manning, welcome back with a goal that was scored in a matter of seconds. And we'll get the official scoring as Baltimore kicks it off. And they'll go from left to right across your TV 51 dial. And Sava Biller gets his first touch on the ball. In the midfield, taken away by Mike Stankovic, off for Canadian Dale Mitchell. Intercepted and broken up in the San Diego zone by Kevin Crow. So we've got all the Chamber of Commerce stuff taken care of, and in a matter of 3 seconds. Is that 3 seconds? They are calling it 3 seconds, and I'm sure that has got to be a record. We'll check with the PR staff of the Baltimore Blast. Drew Forrester's up there, and see if that indeed is a record. Segota on the kickoff gets the assist, his 7th of the year, Paul's 22nd goal of the season. If that's not the fastest goal, I'd like to see the fastest goal. Meanwhile, play goes on as Segota intercepts in center, comes over the Blast line, left wing side to Dougherty, who tries to play it back inside to Segota, and he'll have to take it back out to the line on left wing. Paul Dougherty having a wonderful season so far, as we told you. Right up there with the big guys. 26 to make that 27 goals and 12 assists. For Paul Wright, that's his 22nd goal of the season. 1-0. San Diego leads it here in the Baltimore Arena, and delighted to have you along. I'm Dick Calvert. Thanks for joining us here tonight. New record, fastest goal in the history of, yes, the MISL and the MSL. So that is indeed a new record. Wow, was that fast? Paul Wright now in center. Ball stripped away by Rusty Troy, off quickly for Mike Reynolds, who comes down the right wing side. Crow picks him up at the start of the turn of the radius, plays it back out to the shadow. Bruce Savage, who feeds Dominic Mobilio. He turns on Michael Collins, who's in there now, and the ball is played up into the stands and out of play. Ron Newman with a header to bring it back into play. Ron says when he was in his heyday playing over in England, he always scored with the feet, but he used his head that time. There's the goal scorer, Paul Wright. I'll tell you what, there is another interesting story that I neglected to tell you at the top of the show tonight. Paul, who normally has Angelo Panzetta on him every time the Blast and the Sox match up. It started back last year in the playoffs. Panzetta won't be out there tonight. Young Angelo out of Rutgers, unfortunately, excuse me, he didn't go to Rutgers, I beg your pardon, but RIT, I think, is where he went to school. Anyway, unfortunately, he's just a super young man. He did his knee, and he will have knee surgery. He did one of those, major knee jobs, medial collateral meniscus, or whatever you call it. There's Wes Wade now breaking loose into the Baltimore zone, but Toros Kabrichian calls a common foul on San Diego's Jimmy Gabarra. So we won't have the Noguera to Gabarra to Carbonera out there tonight, because Victor Noguera is on the bench. But Jim Gabarra and Glenn Carbonera are both in uniforms. In fact, they flew Carbonera in because of Quinn's injury last night down in St. Louis. Quinn, late in the game on a power play, got kicked by Brian Smetzer, and he's got a contusion of the calf. Chance now for Dale Mitchell, but it's stripped away by Ben Collins. And what I cannot talk enough about the move that Ron Newman made, putting Ben Collins back as a defender. Like most of you true San Diego soccer fans remember, Ben Collins was an MVP in the Senior Bowl out of college as a scoring midfielder and part-time forward. Of course, he always played midfield for Chicago and Los Angeles in the MSL. Now he's a defender, and what a job he's doing. Mark Metrick out of Philadelphia Textile trying to clear the zone. He gets it off to the big Texan Rusty Troy, who plays Stankovic, and then down the right side for Ronson. Broken up nicely there by David Banks, also of Philadelphia Textile, San Diego's draft choice, the only draft choice to make the squad this year. David Banks now at the back as we set the Sox for you, along with that man, Ben Collins. Paul Wright's forward with Jimmy Gabarra, and the Rocket, Rod Castro. 1-0. 11:19 to go here in the opening period from the Baltimore Arena. Charm City, as they call it here, where it's been pretty cold. 15 degrees, the low yesterday. Be around 20 tonight, they say. Intercept now by Tim Whitman in center. It was stolen away by Alex Golovnia. Jimmy Gabarra feeding right. Right's open, and he can't get the shot off as he tried to double clutch inside the box. Metrick then all over him. Ball trying to get that ball on his right peg. Manning's distribution played out and then back, and Stankovic has to go back to Manning. Manning cannot handle. Now he'll play it in the center to Mitchell, off on the right side to the leading scorer of the Baltimore Blast, Billy Ronson. And White Shoes Billy sends one in to Sava Biller. So far, so good for the rookie. painting houses in Los Angeles, and now starting a game in the Major Soccer League. Segota plays long ball, right wing side in the corner to Wad Hermes. Back out to Segota, broken up nicely there by Mike Reynolds. The ball filters around, and Kevin Crow finds it loose down to Waddy. Waddy will have it poke checked away by Bruce Savage. Savage continues his streak of continuous games here for the Baltimore Blast. 128 now, I believe, consecutive games. Dale Mitchell, right side to Savage. Baltimore just trying to get their offense started. Now Richard Chinapoo comes in. Richard with a bit of a wrap on his left knee for big Rusty Troy. Troy working that right wing side, picked up there by Segota, who's got back defensively to help Golovnia. Here's Chinapoo. Mitchell for himself on a little wall pass. Ball loose, headed away by Segota. Look where Segota was. Bronco back there on Sava Biller's line. So the veteran Segota, sensing that the young man might need a little extra help, comes back from his forward position to head one off the goal line. Out of Mississauga, Canada, Mike Reynolds working the ball in center. Now they work it up the line for the dangerous Dominic Mobilio. Quickly off to Stankovic. Mike won't shoot. He'll give it off to Savage off the glass. Savage's rebound comes down to Hermes. Sockers will build it through center, and Waddy will dump it down in the right wing corner, and the ball will harmlessly come around. Dale Mitchell can play it off the boards to himself as well as anybody in the league. He made a living doing that in Kansas City. And that's where Bronco Segota was so alert defensively to head it out of trouble and away from Sava Biller. Yes, no Victor Noguera tonight if you're just joining us. Dick Calvert here in Baltimore. Delighted to have you on TV 51. Billy Ronson centering, ball in the back of the net, and it was deflected in by Mark Metrick, and we're level at a goal apiece. Sent in by Billy Ronson, and Metrick there to backheel it past Sava Biller. So with 8 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in this, the first period, the Sox have been leveled by the Baltimore Blast. Mark Metrick, the goal scorer, will kick the ball up into the stands, and we'll get a chance to see his goal. He positions himself well in front, and you can see the back heel ball right between the legs. Mike Collins there working defensively and doing a good job, but he simply backheeled the ball, and it found its way through the wickets of the rookie goalkeeper. Metrick's 12th of the year from Ronson at 6:35. We're level at a goal apiece. Ronson's 25th assist of the season, and as we told you, Billy Ronson, who is 8th in the league in scoring, is the top scorer for the Baltimore Blast now with 50 points. The ball's played out, so we've got a break in the action here at the Baltimore Arena. A 1-1 tie. Stay with us. More first period action coming your way right after this. Blast fans happy as the Baltimore club has just equalized San Diego 1-1 here in the first period. KUSI has 4 Sockers road games remaining on their 1991 broadcast schedule. We'll be in Dallas's Reunion Arena on Sunday, February the 3rd. A 2 p.m. start for our next telecast featuring the world champion San Diego Sockers against the always dangerous Dallas Sidekicks. The Sockers are glad to be back on San Diego Sports Station. That's, of course, is KUSI TV 51. Cable 9. Mark Metrick, the goal scorer, scoring his 12th of the year. Restart by the Baltimore Blast, and it's kicked upstairs by the aforementioned Dominic Mobilio. Young Dominic, member of the Canadian national team, having a banner year as well. Mobilio, 9th in the league in scoring with his 47 points, right behind teammate Billy Ronson. Handsome Dominic Mobilio. Last time we were in here, Dominic was extremely dangerous as always, right in front of the goal area. Sava Biller playing the ball on the restart on a goal kick. Out to David Banks, who is at the back now defensively behind the red line with Kevin Crow. Up front, Rod Castro, Paul Wright, and Mike Collins. Ball loose to the Baltimore Blast, however, and here's Tim Whitman. Whitman with a lot of space, up for Ronson, back for Timmy Whitman, but intercepted by Banks. Quickly on the distribution, Sava Biller finds Rod Castro, and he's tripped up by Mark Metrick. Rod Castro getting that distribution up the left wing, and there was a roadblock in front of the Rocket. Banks plays a nice ball down the left wing side. Throw shielding off Mike Stankovic, plays it back to Michael Collins, and the Sox try to build up their offense now. This is more or less a half-field offense. When they're not on the transition game, they come down, move the ball around. Sava Biller wandering out a little bit, runs one down with the left foot. Looks like he's got a good left foot. Castro digging in the corner, a little muscle tussle, a little scrum in the corner with Metrick, and a ball sent in by Mike Collins. Scott Manning way out of his goal to clear it out of there, and the Sox control it in center. Kevin Crow with the ball, as we tell you that we're listening and watching San Diego soccer action on KUSI TV 51 in San Diego, California. Paul Wright now with a penetration into the blast zone. Quickly for Castro, who fires away, and an alert save by Scott Manning. Scotty rolling it out right wing side to perennial all-star and all-decade team member Mike Stankovic. Michael firing away. Ball off the wall for Kevin Crow, who runs it down to right. No Angelo Panzetta. Wright working out with Wes Wade, dropping it quickly for Jimmy Gabarra, whose shot is blocked by Mike Reynolds. Loose ball as Gabarra goes down. Wes Wade still playing with that cast on his right hand. It's a hard cast. I felt it this afternoon, and I'll tell you what, it's not a soft cast. That thing has got plaster on it, and then he's got the protection that soccer's trainer Billy Taylor puts on it. Also aesthetically and cosmetically with the blue wrapping, so it matches his uniform. Bruce Savage now, asked by Scott Manning to bring it up. 6 minutes to go here in the first period, a 1-all tie. Paul Wright scoring 3 seconds into the match. That was equalized by Mark Metrick at 6:35. Wes Wade. Jacques Ladouceur into the ball game now for the Sockers, and Jimmy Gabarra work. Right wing side to Alex Golovnia. Back to Jacques. Ladouceur working against Mike Reynolds. Up for Wes Wade. They play a little 1-2 down in the corner. Jacques looking for the ball. Jacques got the assist on San Diego's only goal last night down in St. Louis. Jacques and Mike Reynolds again working down in that left wing corner. That's where they separate the men from boys, down in the corner, fighting for those balls. Reynolds clears one off, but Crow there to hit it right back to Jacques in center. There's been a lot of talk about the surface here, the rug here in the Baltimore arena. It looks more like the Pacific Ocean out in San Diego. It's got more waves in it, certainly, than Mission Bay. They've had a lot of complaints, and of course the league has asked the Baltimore arena people to do something about it. They've had it inspected a number of times, and the visiting teams have really complained about it. It's wavy as can be, and it's really quite dangerous, to be honest with you. Even Kenny Cooper has complained about it. Shot taken by Savage from way out on the right side, covered up nicely by Sava Biller. Gabarra now back for the Sox as they move the transition game back into high gear offensively. Segota outside at the red line, square to Alex Golovnia. Alex now joined at the back by Benny Collins. Then he'll work against Dale Mitchell over the line inside to the posted up Jim Gabarra. Then Collins goes down on the right wing corner to get it, controls, tries to cross again, this time to little Paul Dougherty. Intercepted by Savage as Dougherty hounds him. Metrick will clear it out of the zone, and a wide open Dominic Mobilio. Look out, he's dangerous. Mobilio now forced to terminate his dribble and bring it back over the line by an alert Jim Gabarra. Timmy Whitman loads one up, fires and scores. So Timmy Whitman, who has been on fire of late, scores his 21st goal. And the Baltimore Blast take a 2-1 lead. 2-1, the Blast lead the Sockers. 3:57 to go in the first period. We'll have more right after this.
Puxa o ball do MSL,
Tim Whitman has just put the Baltimore Blast ahead 2-1. Well, the summer is right around the corner, and what that means, it's time for the Soccer Summer Camp 91 program for youngsters ages 5 to 19. Now, the summer, the San Diego Sockers will be offering outdoor, indoor, and live-in camps for the beginning and advanced field players and goalkeepers. The one-week camp will be held at locations throughout the San Diego County, and they start as low as $125. Summer Camp 91 is sponsored by the Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company of San Diego and 7-Eleven. Now, for more information, and I'm sure you'll want more information, please call the San Diego Soccer's Summer Camp 91 office. You'll get them at 224-GOAL. That's 224-GOAL. They have changed the assist on the kickoff on the goal that Paul Wright scored at 3 seconds into the match to Juan Hermes. So scratch Segota if you're scoring at home with us, and give Juan Hermes his 10th assist of this season. And once again, that's the new record for the fastest goal in the history. So we changed the assist from Segota to Hermes. Sava Biller, not knowing exactly what he wanted to do with that ball, decided to half pick it up and kick it off. By the way, Whitman's 21st from Mobilio at 11:03. Blast up 2-1 here in the first period. Sava Biller tested by the strong leg of Mike Stankovic. Whitman, like I said, has been very hot of late. He's been scoring a whole passel full of goals. That was his 21st of the season. Dominic Mobilio, collision course down in the corner with Ben Collins, and Mobilio goes down. Whistle blows, and we've got a foul on San Diego. Mobilio getting up awfully slow. Dominic appears to be okay. Oh, a free kick just inside the corner spot on the right wing for Billy Ronson. Mobilio will set up with the rest of his teammates on the opposite side. They all make the big runs. Lifted over the top on a skip pass by Ronson to Mobilio. Back outside the ball goes. Ben Collins will break that up. David Vaudreuil into the ball game for the first time for Kenny Cooper's side. Cooper's coat is still on. He leads at 2-1. We have 2.5 minutes to go. Here's a shot outside by Bronco Segota. Ball just wide of the left post as Segota looks at it, to the right of Scott Manning. Vaudreuil now. Yep, David Vaudreuil. Mobilio, Vaudreuil, Timmy Whitman, sent to the carpet by Wes Wade. A foul called on Wes Wade. Baltimore puts the ball back into play. Savage at the back, working the ball along with Reynolds, and it's up for Dale Mitchell, who fires away, followed up by Vaudreuil and sent into the crowd. Was it touched by San Diego last? Mentioning again about Angelo Panzetta, an outstanding young player, second-year player for the Blast. He has injured his knee, a major injury to his knee, and is out for the season. So we will not see that Rochester native marking up Paul Wright tonight. And our best to Angelo. He's just an outstanding young man. He's what the MSL is all about. Free kick, Baltimore in the San Diego zone. Here's Mike Stankovic trying to work past Wes Wade. Wes blocks him out in front. The ball loose at the back and almost headed over Sava Biller by Alex Golovnia and into his own goal. Fortunately for the San Diego Sockers, Biller and company, the ball went wide and Golovnia cleared it off. Blast now taking a little edge of the offense. Coming back down on, and we've got an illegal procedure handling the ball as the ball played back by San Diego out of the midfield zone and handled by the goalkeeper. And that'll allow the Baltimore Blast, leading 2-1 with a minute and a half to go here. That'll allow them a dead ball free kick. We'll get a call from Toro Scribrichin on this one. Well, a misconduct on Michael Collins. Michael obviously disputing the call on that ball played back out of the midfield with Toros Gabrichin. And that yellow flag means that San Diego will lose Collins for 2 minutes, but will not lose a man on the floor. They'll play the Baltimore Blast up 5 aside. So a free kick, Stankovic, supported on the right by Reynolds, and on the left by Savage and Mitchell. Inside is Troy. And free kick taken, and the shot attempted on the outside by Dale Mitchell goes astray. Here's Mitchell again trying to chase down a loose ball into San Diego zone, and San Diego unable to clear the ball out. Shot taken, kick save, and a goal on the rebound off of Biller by Dale Mitchell. So it was Mitchell taking the shot and the kick save by the young goalkeeper, but the veteran Dale Mitchell following up his own shot and scoring the goal. 3-1 Baltimore. If at first you don't succeed, try again, the motto of Dale Mitchell. The kick saved by the goalkeeper. He's down, and Mitchell sniffing that ball inside the box did what all veteran players learn to do, follow up their own shot. And he says, thank you very much. He had it all alone, unattended, in the middle of the San Diego penalty area. And Baltimore has taken a 3-1 lead here in the first period. We still have 1:15 to go. Blast have 21-15 advantage over San Diego in the overall season series. A 13-5 record here in their building, here in the Baltimore Arena. San Diego with a kickoff, and Golovnia and Castro working ball on right wing. However, Castro has to play it all the way back into his own zone. Ben Collins back there, really pressured now, and forechecked by Rusty Troy. Troy shoving, pushing, and jamming Collins into the board. Foul call on Troy. Mitchell's 24th from Troy at 13:43. Third Baltimore goal. A steal by Mike Reynolds away from Castro gives Baltimore possession once again. Just 36 seconds to go here in this first period. We've had 4 goals. Sox scored only 1 goal last night in a 2-1 loss to the Storm down in St. Louis. Paul Wright scoring the only goal tonight for the San Diego Sockers. Mitchell, Whitman, and Metrick have all scored for the Baltimore Blast. As we count it down here in the first period, Wes Wade will turn and play it back to David Banks, and Banks will bring it out. Collins off into center to Paul Wright. Timmy Whitman has evidently drawn the assignment to mark up Paul Wright, and he's probably the only one on the Baltimore side that has the speed to match up. Whitman very quick, not as quick as Paul Wright, however, and not as quick as Angelo Panzetta. Here's Segota off for Paul, and Paul's got space. Now he's picked up by Whitman, who comes over and gets an angle. You can see Whitman running like crazy to get over and pick up Paul Wright. His time has run out here in the first period. So after 15 minutes of play from the Baltimore Arena, the homestanding Blast lead the defending champion San Diego Sockers by a score of 3-1. We'll be back with period number 2. Stay with us. This will be a dandy, I guarantee you. We'll be back right after this. And we welcome you back as we take a look at the youngsters enjoying their new t-shirts. This is t-shirt night here in the Baltimore Arena. Quickly looking at the MSL last night in Tacoma. Tacoma with 11,000 fans on hand defeated the Wichita Wings 10-2. Kansas City beat Dallas 6-4 at the Kemper Arena. I've already mentioned probably too many times that it was 2-1 in favor of St. Louis over San Diego down in the Gateway City. And of course Cleveland taking the measure of Baltimore 9-3 up in the Richfield Coliseum. There's a Red Sox fan not far away from Boston. Drove all the way down here to, in the offseason, take in an indoor soccer game. Scott Manning, of course, starting for the first time in 5 games. He had a right knee strain. And of course, they have used their number 2 goalkeeper, young Hank Henry, who started the season in the camp with the San Diego Sockers. But when Baltimore beckoned and Hank was trying out for San Diego, he came running because Cooper said, I'll sign you, I need you. A graduate of SMU and a former Dallas sidekick came to Baltimore, and he's now a proud member of the Charm City side. Could have been down in San Diego where the weather is pleasant Sunny, warm, golfing 65, 70-degree weather. Up here it's 15. There's a shot by Billy Ronson, carrying off the boards, unable to be controlled by Wad Hermes, and then bouncing unattractively for Baltimore off for David Banks. Wadi Hermes has a very large wrap on his right hand. He's bandaged up. David Banks at the Baltimore line now, drops it back into center to Kevin Crow. We're underway in period number 2, and thanks for joining us tonight here on KUSI TV 51. Paul Dougherty losing the ball to Mark Metrick, and then Timmy Whitman having it block tackled in front just outside the line by Wad Hermes, and Whitman will clear it long. Up goes Kevin Crow with Dominic Mobilio, and Mobilio the aggressor there. They have called a foul, and it'll be called on Dominic Mobilio. Young David Banks not wearing his ponytail tonight. He's just letting it hang kind of ad-lib there at the back. And Mobilio says, the foul's on me? You got to be joking. Bronco Segota putting it forward for Paul Wright, who's got Manning out of the box. Paul on the wing, plays it back out on the point to Segota, but that's broken up by Mobilio. San Diego with an opportunity as Manning went wandering. Out of his box, out to the red line comes Sava Biller. Victor Noguera is dressed tonight, by the way. He is in uniform on the bench if needed. Banks now heading it up in the air in center. It comes down like a little dying quail to the forehead of Richard Chinapoo, and he hops one out of play over the far glass. Repeating, this arena, and most of you certainly know by now, is a lot smaller than the San Diego Sports Arena. It's only 176 long by 82 wide, where most of the arenas in the league, in fact, all the rest of the arenas in the league are 200 in length, 200 feet by 85. In that first period, Baltimore leading 3-1. 10 shots on goal by Baltimore, 7 by the Sox. Manning, facing those 7 shots, made 3 saves. Sava Biller, facing the 10 Baltimore shots, made 4 saves. 6 fouls on San Diego and 2 on the Baltimore Blast. And in that first period, we saw the fastest goal in the history of the MSL by Paul Wright, 3 seconds into the match. Sava Biller working the ball out to Wad Hermes. It's Hermes and Wright, Crow and Golovny, along with Segota, who has it on left wing. Segota in center, marked up there by Mike Reynolds, head manning it up along the boards, trying to wrap one in for Wad Hermes. Picked off the pines by Mike Stankovic. Square at the red line to Reynolds, who runs it up the left wing side to Rusty Troy. Troy is so strong. He can hit a golf ball about 350 yards every time. However, it's very seldom in the fairway. Nice young man out of North Texas State. Crow in center, playing wide to the left side to his running mate behind the red line. Alex Golovny, and the Soviet will play it off the wall for Hermes. Waddy trying to flick it on for Paul Dougherty. Sockers have it. Here comes Dougherty now, left wing side, working against Stankovic. Into the box for Segota, tries to play it over his head. Ball still loose at the red line for Dougherty, and we get a whistle from Felix Folksman, and he says it's an infraction on the Baltimore Blast. And Paul Dougherty, who is tied with Wad Hermes as the top goal scorers during power plays in the league, will sneak down and go inside. Ball played square to the right to Hermes, who puts it inside the box on a nice entry pass off the wall for Dougherty, and it's kicked out by the Blast. 12:23 to go here in period number 2. Stay with us at halftime. We're going to have a chance to visit with the top coach in the MSL. Mr. Ron Newman will be our guest at halftime. The coach's coach, Ron Newman, who has won 8 indoor titles, 6 in this league. He's not very happy right now. Ron is gesturing pretty vociferously over there on the bench. Not very happy with something that either Mr. Folksman or Mr. Krabrichian did. Ron works the officials pretty good. San Diego puts the ball in play. Make that Baltimore putting the ball in play, and San Diego clearing it out of the zone. I beg your pardon. Wes Wade, everybody's favorite, always hustling, plays it off quickly to Dougherty. Now here's Ben Collins in the attack, up for Michael Collins. Wall ball by Mike for Ben. No play there. Wade flicks it on, and it's picked up on the volley by Scott Manning. Alex Golovny hustling back, help out Sava Biller. Sava hasn't stayed in his area all night long. He's wandered a little bit. Little target ball by Alex Golovny, and a shot by Paul. Dougherty's shot blocked inside the box by Metric, and it caroms over to Stankovic, who brings it down to Mitchell on left wing. A give and go with Billy Ronson. He's open, fires away, and it's kick saved to the wide side of the field by Sava Biller. Tugging and holding on is Paul Dougherty to Dale Mitchell, and a foul called on Paul Dougherty. Ronson comes around, circles the wagon, and takes the free kick. Out for Stankovic, who fires away, and a long carom out of play. So Michael unloading that strong right leg of his. And of course, that right leg has been around a while. Now 34 years of age is Mr. Stankovic. I have to apologize, too. The last time we were in here, I was talking about his background. When he came over from Yugoslavia to the United States, he didn't come as a soccer player. He came over here playing an accordion in a restaurant in the New York area, the East Coast, and then decided that that wasn't the way he wanted to make his living. He is an accomplished accordion player, but I apologize because a lot of that stuff is by memory, and I said he played a violin. He may, I don't know, but it wasn't a violin he was playing in the restaurant. It was indeed an accordion. Timmy Whitman now, who joined this club when he was age 17, working with the Trinidadian National, Richard Chinapoo, and down to Mobilio, and that's tapped away by Ben Collins. He plays so well at the back. Collins, of course, who has something you can't coach, too. He's got God-given speed, and he can flat fly. So if he wants to play defense with that speed, that's a big asset. Playing defense to veteran players in the MSL is kind of like putting good-hitting slow guys at first base in baseball. The Sox, of course, have always had a penchant for speed. Here's Mobilio trying a wall pass for Metric, who was all alone in the box, but is blocked by David Banks. That rookie has been impressive this year. There's going to be some surprises come All-Star time. The ballots are out, and they'll be naming it pretty soon. We get a whistle and a foul called on David Banks. They'll be naming the Eastern and the Western Division All-Star teams this coming week. Of course, Ron Newman and Kenny Cooper will be the coach. Here's Metric now heading one at Sava Biller, and Benny Collins right there at the edge of the crease to head it out of play. So that's a corner kick now for the Baltimore Blast. Sava Biller with his headband and his hair kind of hanging over the front sides of that headband will mark up at near post. Victor Noguera talking to assistant coach and injured player Brian Quinn. Victor went 29 straight games. Now, if he does get into the game tonight, then his consecutive games streak will be intact, but his starts will not be intact. Alan Mayer holds the distinction of starting 33 consecutive games. But 29 for Victor Noguera, I'll tell you what, it's not too shabby, is it? A 16-12 record and a 4.66 goal against average. Outside, a shot taken, and Sava Biller makes a save on the play. He read that one perfect. Big scrum for it on the far side. Jacques Ladouceur, the most persistent there to finally clear the ball away, and then it's sent all the way down to Scott Manning. 3-1. The Blast lead the Sox here. Period number 2 from the Baltimore Arena, and delighted to have you along tonight here on TV 51. We'll be your way on February the 3rd. That's a Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Sox take on division rival Dallas Sidekicks. Ooh, collision in 2 minutes on Wes Wade. Wes Wade went into the boards, and I believe it's Mike Reynolds with Mike Reynolds. And I'm telling you, there was quite a collision. That is Mike Reynolds, and it'll cost Wade 2 minutes for boarding. The San Diego Sockers will now get a chance to showcase the no-goal patrol. Felix Folksman giving the call. 2 minutes boarding. The no-goal patrol will come out. Of course, there'll be no Quinn on that no-goal patrol. It'll be David Banks and Kevin Crow. Sava Biller makes a pretty doggone good save on a shot from way outside from the red line on the right point. Last time down the floor for the Baltimore Blast. But Wes Wade has just gone into the cage for a couple of minutes, and San Diego's shorthanded. Power play for the Baltimore Blast. Tim Whitman inside. Biller looking for the ball. Finally finds it when Crow gets behind him. Looking at the Baltimore Blast now as far as their power play efficiency goes. They are 41% on the year. They rank in the MSL, I beg your pardon. They are 5th place in the MSL. They've scored 14 power play goals in 35 attempts. Billy Ronson blocked out in front by Jim Gabera on the power play. Around the perimeter, Stankovic outside to Mobilio and Mitchell. Here's Jim Gabera with a steal. Wes Wade the other night, a couple of games ago, getting a shorthanded goal for the San Diego Sockers. He could come out there and join the foursome or replace one of the foursome of Ben Collins, Jim Gabera, Crow, and David Banks. Billy Ronson changing it to the right wing side for Mike Stankovic, deep down in the corner, right in the middle of the turn. Play it back out at the top behind the red line to Dale Mitchell. Baltimore will pull it back into center and try to stretch that four-man box defense of the San Diego's no-goal patrol. Baltimore won power play goal in 6 straight games. Here's Kevin Crow on a breakaway, firing it, and sends Manning to the mat. Back the other way, Manning's distribution on a quick change, getting Baltimore up the floor, but that's stopped by Ben Collins, and Billy Ronson has to play it back out into center to Mike Stankovic. 16 seconds remain on the penalty to Wes Wade. 3-1, Baltimore leads it. We have inside 8 minutes to go here in the first half of play. Ronson's shot sucked up like a Hoover vacuum cleaner by rookie Sava Biller. Sava with a lot of savvy there, throws it long down the floor, and Wes Wade is back on the no-goal patrol with that lofty 72.7% adds to that as they kill off the penalty, and Sava will just lay it out into center to Bronco Segota. Heavy pressure on Segota now by the Baltimore Blast. Joe Barger out there. Little header and a goal by Rod Castro. A header by Wright and a bicycle kick, not by Castro. That was Wad Hermes, I believe. Wad Hermes in tight there. He was all over the guy that was marking him up, and likewise, and Waddy getting the ball up and over, and they did not call a dangerous play. This is a heck of a goal. Paul Wright getting the long distribution, and all he does is just flick it on over Savage's head. Puts a little bit of mustard on it. And look at this play. Over the left shoulder, Waddy scores his 27th, I do believe, of the season. Wad Hermes, who is sitting right behind the leaders in the scoring. And we've got a break in the action as San Diego has come within a goal of the Blast. 7:08 to go in the first half of play. Blast up by a goal, 3-2. 3-2 ball game with the Blast leading the San Diego Sockers here. 7 minutes, 8 seconds to go in the first half of play. Promised you a good one, and we're going to have a good one here tonight. These two teams just match up so well. Sava Biller working the ball along the glass there, and the fans wanted handball and Sava out of the box, but not so. His feet were out, but he held the ball in. So he's been getting some help from a guy that is pretty much a master at that play, and that is Victor Noguera. Sava's been working with the full squad and the reserve squad, doing double duty for some time since he's been signed. Ball played in, and back there defensively, Jacques Ladouceur to play it off the glass to Wes Wade. Wade working in center, changes it to the right wing side to Alex Golovnia, whose pass downfield will be picked up by Bruce Savage, and Baltimore will have the ball. Headed back into center to David Vaudreuil by Rusty Troy. You know, we used to say that former San Diego Soccer George Fernandez was the only Hawaiian player in the MSL, but David Vaudreuil was born in Honolulu, so there's two now. 6:16 to go. Bruce Savage with the restart for Vaudreuil, and then deep in the corner, left wing side to Mobilio. Out quickly for Metric, who has scored 1 goal tonight. He bangs it off the San Diego defender and back into the stage area here. Behind goalkeeper Sava Biller is a stage where they put a lot of seats all the way back. This is also a theater type arena besides being a basketball arena, or sometimes the Washington Caps. Also the home of the Baltimore Skipjacks in the American Hockey League. It'll be a corner kick for Rusty Troy. He'll trigger. Mike Collins and Segota mark up. Inside quickly, and it's played off of Save Biller. The shot taken on a little diagonal run by Dominic Mobilio, and now Jacques Ladouceur is tripped up as he comes out. Vaudreuil committing the foul there. Ben Collins, by the way, has 3 common fouls, or personal fouls, if you will. And you know the new rule, if you get 4.5, boom, 2-minute penalty in your history. So Ron Newman has pulled Ben Collins for the balance of this half because of the 3 fouls. He's in jeopardy. He'll sit over with Alex Trevec. Here's Bronco Segota heading it down in the box, hoping that Mike Collins would make that run, but Mike Collins was screened off by Rusty Troy, and Manning will outlet it to the Honolulu native, David Vaudreuil. He'll go off, so will Savage. On comes Stankovic and Whitman. San Diego out there with Mike Collins, Bronco Segota, Paul Wright, David Banks, and Kevin Crow. Here's Banks taking the ball away from 2 Blast players. We mentioned to you last time we were here in Baltimore, the Blast have changed their logo and their uniform colors. Very attractive white and navy blue home outfit with the white socks, and they have a different Baltimore across their chest, a script Baltimore. They still have the exploding ball, indicate the Blast, however. Done away with a lot of that orange and that yellow. Here's Bronco. Bronco off the wall. Scott Manning knows these boards probably as well as he knows the entrance to his own home, and he reads it perfectly, and we get a handball called. A handball called on Paul Wright. Rusty Troy talking to Torres Cabrichin. Cabrichin paying absolutely no attention to him. Torres, who makes his home out in the West, working tonight with Felix Volksman. Long ball looking for Dale Mitchell. Ball rolling away from Sava Biller, and alertly Kevin Crow will send it down. Wes Wade and Rusty Troy go for it. Wade looking for it. Troy on the ground, able to play it back to his goalkeeper. Marvelous play there. Little things like that often go unnoticed, except to the eagle eye of the coaching staff. English native Billy Ronson with 50 points now on the year, trying to work the ball, but San Diego breaks it up. Here's a 3-on-2 now, led by Wes Wade, trying to go left wing side to Crow. Scores! Kevin with a double clutching effort. He got the ball from Wes Wade, and it looked like the ball was back in his stance and he couldn't do anything with it. What the veteran out of San Diego State did was kind of chip it for himself right at his foot, double clutch, and send it home for the goal. So with 4:30 remaining here in the half, it's 3-3. Marvelous goal by Kevin Crow. Watch the double clutch. First, boom. Thank you, Kevin Crow, as Scott Manning goes down. For Crow, it's his 4th of the year, unassisted. And we've got a timeout here in the arena in Baltimore. The Baltimore Arena, scene of last year's championship series. We're going to take a break from here and tell you that we'll be back. Baltimore kicks off in our 3-3 game, as San Diego, now with 2 unanswered goals, have equalized the Baltimore Blast. A 3-3 tie here in the first half of play. A little over 4 minutes to go this opening half. Paul Dougherty and everybody really scrumming for the ball. Jimmy Gabera, nice job of checking it out of there. A little toe poke out to David Vaudreuil. Baltimore keeps it in action. In the attack zone, Whitman cannot get it off. Michael Collins sacrificing the body. Here's Ronson trying to lift one, and Paul Dougherty block tackles that at point of impact. Now Dominic Mobilio is tripped up by Mike Collins, and a foul called on San Diego. First foul on Michael Collins in the first half of play. Once again, 4 fouls in a half and a 2-minute penalty. Those are 4 personals on an individual, kind of like another sport we're aware of. Here's a chance now for Baltimore. Mobilio trying to center inside. Vaudreuil was in there. The ball ricocheted out. San Diego trying to clear their zone. Jimmy Gabera will just back heel it, pull top it, so to speak, back to Sava Biller, who sends it up to Wes Wade, who's tied up with David Vaudreuil. A 3-3 tie. Game got started with a 3-second goal by Paul Wright, then equalized at the 5:35 mark by Mark Metrick. Timmy Whitman put Baltimore up 2-1 at 11:03 of the first period, and Dale Mitchell scored at 12:43 of the first period, and it was 3-1 Baltimore, but Hermes and Crow have come back for San Diego to level it at 3 goals apiece. And now the rookie makes a rookie mistake, I guess you could say, kicking the ball from his own defensive third of the field over the 2 lines and that is a violation. So it'll be a free kick for Baltimore, and they'll spot it at the San Diego red line. Free kick for the Blast. Billy Ronson supported on the right by Stankovic, on the left by Savage, and by Mike Reynolds. Inside, Dale Mitchell making the run. It goes to Reynolds on the left. Reynolds working the ball at the near post. Sava Biller had it come off of him, and then gets the back pass from Dougherty. Realizing it, he pounces on it and lays it out for Hermes. Hermes up for Rod Castro. Castro trying to turn, plays it back out to Dougherty. It eludes Dougherty, and here's a breakaway for Dale Mitchell. Mitchell and Alex Golovnia, left wing side. Mitchell with the ball, foul Golovnia. So Alex did the thing he had to do. He got back, took the angle, and took Mitchell away from Sava Biller's goal. Mitchell will get the free kick. Mitchell out for Ronson. Ronson's shot blocked by the Soviet export or import, if whatever way you look at it. If he came in here, he's an import. If the USSR let him go, I guess he's an export. But anyway, Alex blocked the shot, and Baltimore has it in center. 2:41 to go in the first half of play. Look out for the right foot, and a shot taken by Mike Stankovic. It got by Biller and hit the post. So it got by Biller and hit the pillar. Scott Manning with his release up the left wing side. Blast putting the heat on. They want a goal to go into the changing room with. Off the glass. Stretching out and trying to get the rebound. Might make that Bruce Savage. And Savage pushing down Jimmy Gabera, so the Sox get a chance to try to take a goal into the changing room with. A one-goal lead, that is, of course. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. Delighted to have you along on our continued coverage of the San Diego Sockers, the MISL, MSL 8-time champion. Right here on KUSI TV 51. Ball right, shot wide of the far post as he released one out on the left wing side. Ball rolling around and back to Crow in center. Inside 2 minutes to go as they go up to Segota. Segota's got a left foot, fires away. Rebound, handball on Metric. Did they see it? No call on the play. Ball bouncing to Metric, and now we get a whistle that stops play by Felix Folksman, who was stationed right in front of Ron Newman, and I'm sure that's going to be a bench warning.
Bench warning.
Yep. Bench warning on Ron Newman. Ron saw the handball, and most of the people in the stands gave it that type of action. But the two guys arbitrating this game, the two officials out there, decided that it was, if it was handball, it was inadvertent. But it certainly did hit the extremities of Mark Metric. Ron just shakes his head and says, well, you can imagine what he says. Baltimore free kick, Rusty Troy. Long ball for Mitchell, who's all alone. Biller comes out of there okay, and San Diego clears the zone. Now a foot race. Rusty Troy and Bronco Segota. Last time those two guys were involved in a little set tee here in the Baltimore arena. Nice play by Mike Collins to keep it alive in the attacking third. Collins 1-2 with Crow. Collins left wing side down the corner. Broken up by Troy, kept alive by Collins. Intercepted and broken up by Mark Metric. Segota, a lot of running tonight. Bronco running around, the ball off of Segota and goes out of play. It'll go out to the Baltimore Blast with 1:16 to go here in the second period. We'll talk to Ron Newman at halftime. We'll take a look at the first half action. We'll also update you on what's going on in the mystical, magical world of the MSL. We'll take a look at both the Eastern and the Western divisions. We'll take a look at the leading goal scorers, the leading assist makers, the leading scorers, as well as the goalkeepers in the league. All that's coming your way at the half. 33-year-old Scott Manning releases the ball up to Dominic Mobilio, who fouls Wad Hermes. And for Dominic, that'll be his third of the half. So let's see if he stays on, if they recognize it. With just a minute to go, Mobilio's out there right now defending with 3 fouls on him. Ball played around. San Diego looking for it. Segota's got it outside the box at the red line. Look how close the red line on this short field is to the top of the box and the restraining arc. Segota's shot hits the crossbar and maybe a piece of Scott Manning. Here's David Banks keeping it alive, but the ricochet comes out to Mike Stankovic, then picked up by Mobilio. Run down the left wing side. Paul Wright in front of Stankovic defensively to pick it up at the San Diego red line. Play it square there to Kevin Crow. And mans it up for Bronco Segota, who takes on Timmy Whitman at the Baltimore line. Loses it momentarily, but Paul Wright has it. Wright sends one in, and Scott Manning in traffic makes a wonderful save. 17 seconds. Rusty Troy tracked by Segota. Angle cut off by Kevin Crow, and then Crow is fouled by Rusty Troy. Kevin does everything so effortlessly. It's just a marvelous soccer player. Same manner, same level of control, no matter how tough the battle is, but always very efficient and always very calm. Sava Biller settled into this one pretty good. He's tied 3-3 with a blast with just seconds to go here in the first half of play. Clock stopped with 3 seconds as Reynolds commits a foul. Look for Ron Newman now maybe to put the 6th attacker out there. San Diego has not used their option timeout. They can call it, and they will call it. Ron Newman wants the timeout so he can get a 6th attacker out there. So San Diego with possession just outside the Baltimore Blast red line. 3 seconds to go. Gives us an opportunity to tell you about the Sockers will host their 5th annual Big Buddy Night. It's coming your way Thursday, March 28th against the Tacoma Stars. Now, Big Buddy Night is one night each year that the Sockers make regularly priced $10.50 tickets available for sponsorship for only $4. That's a heck of a deal, which are then, of course, donated to local charities and community service groups. Now, last year, the Sockers distributed a record 6,500 tickets, enabling many San Diegans to see their first Sockers game, deserving San Diegans. So if you'd like to be a Big Buddy Night sponsor, pick up that telephone tomorrow. Make it Monday. Pick up that telephone Monday morning and call the Sockers office at 224-4625. Be a part of Big Buddy Night. Let's break that record of 6,500 tickets donated to youngsters and charities so that they're able to come out to the sports arena and spend a night with the San Diego Sockers. Ron Newman has got his plan in attack. He's put Mike Collins in the 6th attack jersey. It's a all out or nothing for the San Diego Sockers. Ball sitting about, I'd say a good 15 feet outside the red line, right wing side. Bronco Segota there with Mike Collins. Paul Wright goes inside. Collins goes over the top of it. Here comes Segota. He'll unleash it, and it's blocked by Stankovic. 1 second ticks off the clock, so Stankovic stops it, and the ball will probably be spotted for the dead ball free kick about the same distance away that it was before, but closer to the dasher boards. Koros Gabrichin will spot it, and again, Segota talks about his plan with Mike Collins. Segota once again, as Stankovic post up in front of him, send it over, and there's a header by Crow, and the ball placed up in the air and settles down into the fist of Scott Manning as time runs out here in the first half of play. So after 30 minutes of action here between the perennial finalists of the Major Soccer League, the San Diego Sockers, the defending champs, and the runner-up Baltimore Blast, they're dead level at 3 goals apiece. We'll be back in a visit with Ron Newman after this timeout. It's intermission in our game between the San Diego Sockers and the Baltimore Blast in this great rivalry. And joining me now, the head man of the San Diego Sockers, the coach of coaches in the MSL, Ron Newman. And Ron, we've just now passed the halfway mark. It's a little bit over the halfway mark in this season's race here in the MSL. What about surprises? Have there been any surprises? Would you take a look at your side?
Well, I'm a little surprised that the defense has come together as well as it did that early. I was a bit disappointed early in the season when we had so many new players, Dick, and I wasn't sure how long it would take to put it all together. And so that part of the game is real good. And, of course, we've got good scoring from all sorts of other places. So I think the fact that we're near the top of the league is commendable at this stage. Very happy. You
know, in the old days, the good old days, so to speak, the V, the Wilrich, the Dana days, the San Diego Sockers were a finesse team. Now the San Diego Sockers still winning, but you're a high-pressure team.
Well, I don't think you can survive without the high pressure now, Dick. I think that's the way the game's evolved. I think there were times when we played high pressure even back with those lads. It was not that easy to get them to play high pressure, but we could rely, of course, on their ability to score goals that could get us out of any trouble if we did get in trouble. But now I think it's much more of a team game now than it was back in the old days.
Staying with the thought that the league is now a little better than half over, there's been a number of new rules this year implemented by the MSL. How has it affected the game in the league?
Well, I think that obviously we've tried to improve the scoring, and I think we have increased the scoring, although it didn't look like it in St. Louis last night. But we have. The goals are bigger. The fact that you have to stand 15 feet back from free kicks make all free kicks much more dangerous, which in turn means that you're much more reluctant to give up a free kick near the edge of your penalty box, as you can imagine. We want to steer away from that. And the other thing is the foul. The way the fouls are counted now is individual fouls, and if a player gets 4 fouls, then the team gets a 2-minute penalty. So naturally the coach pulls a player off the field when he's got 3. So we really govern ourselves by doing it this way, and I think that all the rules this year are very good.
Ron, you never cease to amaze all of us in soccer with some of the things that you have done. In other words, things that you've invented, things that you've embellished on as far as utilizing the rules of the game. But I think the thing that you did this year in moving Ben Collins back as a defender was absolutely brilliant. I'm sorry, but I have to say that right here on TV 51. It was a heck of a move, and it's really worked out, hasn't it?
Well, I think Ben's the one that's brilliant. I'm so happy with Ben. You know, he's been a flash of fresh air, because, you know, we were looking all around to find who could fill up those roles left by Ralph Back and George Fernandez and Cacho. And Ben said, you know, I can play at the back, and of course several other players have said the same thing to me. So I thought, well, I tried Ben, and Ben always said to me, he said, give me 15 minutes, and if I'm no good, he said, you pull me out. I said, you're right, I will pull you out. But I've never pulled him out. He's been absolutely magnificent, and he's been one of the real bright spots of this year, and I think possibly all-star material at this stage.
Oh, I certainly agree with you. And as we wind things down here in our little chat with the head coach, what about this race in the West now? It's a dandy. San Diego, Tacoma, and St. Louis.
It is. You can't afford to lose a couple of games because the other teams sort of catch you up. Or, you know, we felt that we had 4 games against St. Louis in a 6-game span, and we felt that if we could win all 4 games, that would completely turn the league upside down, because we were so far back at the time when we were thinking that. Well, we won 3 of those games, we lost 1, and we also won other games as well. So it turned out that we did turn the league upside down, and suddenly we're on top of the league instead of looking up from the bottom. And now, of course, St. Louis are still playing very well. They're going to be a difficult team to beat eventually, but and Tacoma slipped back, but I think they'll come back. And I think Tacoma's result last night shows that they're capable of rebounding after a bad start.
Okay, Ron, appreciate the visit. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much, Dick.
And we'll continue here at halftime. We'll be back in a moment, show you some highlights, cover the league standings. We'll embellish on that Western Division race a little more for you. Take a look at the scorers and the goalkeepers. All that's coming your way next when we come back right here on TV 51. A 3-3 tie here at halftime between the San Diego Sockers and the Baltimore Blast, and we promised you a good one. I think it's a pretty good one for 30 minutes anyway. These two teams have a marvelous rivalry, and I don't know, it seems like when it comes down to crunch time, they're there at the end, and just might be this year. But right now, both the Blast and the San Diego Sockers are trailing in their respective divisions by 1 full game. Kansas City leads the East by 1 game over the Baltimore Blast. Let's take a look at those standings. Wichita has been a pretty solid club of late. Wichita now out of first place by 4 games, trailing Kansas City by 4 with their 13-17 record. Baltimore, by the way, along with Kansas City, both over 500. And then Cleveland, now that Kai Hoskevy is back playing, looks like that they're a solid club. They're 5.5 back, but they've won 2 straight, and Kai Hoskevy and company defeated the Baltimore Blast 9-3 last night. Over in the Wild Wild West, I'll tell you what, it's a heck of a fight between the San Diego Sockers, the St. Louis Storm, and the Tacoma Stars. Right now, St. Louis leading by a game over San Diego, 2.5 over Tacoma and 6 over the Dallas Sidekicks. But I will mention the fact that St. Louis is in Tacoma tonight in a game that will start later on the West Coast. Taking a look at the leading scorers in the MISL, there was a heck of a race between Tattoo and Preki, but the fantastic Armadillo, as he is called down there in Dallas, has jumped out to an 11-point lead in the points race. He has 83 points, followed by Preki with 72. Jan Goossens from Kansas City, always a solid performer. He's third with 69, and you can go down the line. How about Zoran Karic? He is having a marvelous year for the second time that he has been with the Cleveland Crunch. Of course, going over last year to Cleveland in that trade for Paul Wright. Billy Ronson and Dominic Mobilio are 8 and 9 in scoring in the league. And, of course, Dale Mitchell of Baltimore, number 12. Brian Quinn, not playing tonight, has 43 points. He holds down the 11th spot. Paul Dougherty in there, number 15, with his 39 points. Chris Vaccaro is the top goalkeeper at present in the MSL, I beg your pardon. His 13-12 record is exceeded by his excellent 4.49 goal against average. Number 2, Victor Noguera, who is sitting out for the first time in 30 games tonight. Victor completes 29 games with his 16, make that he's 16 and 12. Double check that on Victor Noguera. He's 16 and 12 with a 4.66 goal against average. There are 2 other games, as I mentioned, being played in the MSL tonight. Dallas at Cleveland. We should get some kind of a result on that one for you. And, of course, later on over on the coast, the St. Louis Storm playing Tacoma. That game of great interest, of course, to the San Diego Soccer fans. We're level at 3 goals apiece here. The Blast and the Sox level at 3-3 at the half. We'll be back with more activity here from the Baltimore Arena. And we welcome you back to Charm City. Welcome you inside the Baltimore Arena. At the top of the show, we mentioned that these 2 teams have played 3 games previous, all 3 games ending by 1 goal to the victor. We'll have a chance now to look at the fastest goal in the history of the MSL. The fastest goal took just 3 seconds. Wad Hermes, a 1-bouncer to the speedy Paul Wright. Half volley into the lower left-hand corner, and it was 1-0 San Diego. However, that was equalized at 6:35 by the Baltimore Blast. Billy Ronson sending one in to Mark Metrick, who backheeled it between the legs of rookie keeper Sava Biller. Baltimore made it 2-1 when Timmy Whitman cracked one in from way outside. The ball came from Dominic Mobilio across. Now that's the backheel goal again, a different angle on the backheel goal by Mark Metrick. Save Biller, I'm sure, caught by a little bit by surprise on that one because San Diego had a defender right on Mark Metrick. The 3rd goal was scored by Baltimore to make it 2-1. We'll have a chance to take a look at that momentarily. We've got some other goals to look at. But we were talking about this series. Now, this series, it's a funny series in the fact that here in Baltimore, during the regular season, the Blast absolutely dominate the San Diego Sockers. But when it comes crunch time, Baltimore falls prey to the champions. Goal number 3 here in our game tonight was scored by Timmy Whitman. Whitman, who started playing at Baltimore at age 17, wears that number on the back of his jersey, and he sent Sava Biller sprawling. It was 2-1 at that time in favor of the Baltimore Blast. Goal number 4 came off the foot of the veteran Dale Mitchell, and he followed up his own shot. Shot once, it was kick saved, and he went right after the ball and followed it up like the veteran forward that Dale Mitchell is. So Mitchell made it 3-1, and Baltimore was pretty comfortable at that point. However, San Diego does come back in the first half, obviously, because we're level at 3 goals apiece. We were talking about this series. The series always seems to take a San Diego turn late in the year when it becomes playoff time. Kenny Cooper has done everything he possibly can to change this modus operandi, so to speak, and probably the biggest move he has made since last year's championship was to trade off Carl Valentine to the Kansas City Comets for Dale Mitchell, who just scored that goal. And you can see how valuable Dale Mitchell is when he followed up his own shot. Youngsters 19 years of age and under are invited to sign up for the Junior Soccer's Feats of Magic Club. Now, this is an ongoing yearly deal with San Diego, and it's just marvelous. Now, all club members receive a free ticket to 2 Sockers games at the Sports Arena, a club membership, and that is good for an additional $1 off the youth discount price, and an invitation to the special summer party with the Sockers players. So to become a Junior Soccer, call the Sockers office at 224-GOAL. By the way, Junior Sockers are sponsored by Pepsi-Cola of San Diego, Domino's Pizza, Frito-Lay, and 7-Eleven. And we're underway in the second half. Bronco Segota lays one on a free kick to Juan Hermes, and he's blocked outside. Sox going from right to left across your TV 51 screen. Here's Segota and Metric working down on the right side. Kevin Crow trying to keep it alive for San Diego. Just underway here in the second half of play. Look out, Mitchell with some space. He's pulling Biller out, but Biller retreats and collects at the near post. A 3-all tie. Thanks for joining us here. Just underway in the second half of play. By the way, Dominic Mobilio scored his 100th career goal tonight, and it's the fastest that any Blast player has ever scored 100 career goals. Dominic Mobilio, he's just 19 years of age. 22 shots on goal by Baltimore in the first half. 15 shots for the San Diego Sockers. 11 saves for Scott Manning, the veteran. 6 saves for Scott Manning, the veteran, and 11 saves for the rookie Sava Biller in his first ever indoor start. San Diego out there now with Crow and Golovnia working as defensemen. Ball flipped up in the air and into the goal, and it's Golovnia as he chipped one over the head to the far post, and Scott Manning went up in the air. But I'm sure when we look at that again, Manning might have left his feet a little premature. San Diego just working with their defenders out on the back on left wing side, and it was the Soviet Alex Golovnia taking one off the board and flicking it up in the air. Look at the spin, and look at Manning. No, he made a
attempt by Scott Manning, but that was put where no one was going to get it. Godzilla would not have saved that one. There it is. And oh, it's 4-3 San Diego. And down the other end, young rookie goalkeeper Sava Biller collects one.
Up into center to Wes Wade. He sends it into Manning, and we go end to end with goalkeepers playing the major role. Joe Barger out there working for the Blast now, taken away and stripped away by Ben Collins, off for Jacques Ladouceur, and dropped back for David Banks at the San Diego line. Head Manning up for Rocket Rod Castro. That's intercepted by Rusty Troy. Here's Big Rusty firing one away, and Sava down to suck it up. Now Sava shouting out his instructions. I asked Eric Geyer when I spoke to him about Sava Biller if Sava would have any problem with his communication with his defenders and with the veteran soccer players out there. He said absolutely none. He said he'll be able to communicate. That's what we work on in practice. Dougherty out there with Mike Collins, Ben Collins. Ben's now been eradicated from his 3 first half fouls, so he starts fresh, as all players do. Golovnia's goal is unassisted. It's his 6th of the year, and it comes at 1:19 of period number 3. Sox leading the ball game 4-3. We're in period number 3. Mike Reynolds working with the ball. Stopped by Castro and fouled by Castro.
San Diego's number 17, Rod Castro, is first. Free kick, Max.
Sox had 15 shots in the first half to the Blast 22. 12:06 remain here in this, the third period. Ball filters its way into Sava Biller. Paul Dougherty, long chip up for Jimmy Gabarra. Jimmy doing a good job of screening Stankovic, who pulls him down. Mike, who leads the MSL in penalty minutes, got 2 more last night up in Cleveland. So far tonight, Mike has had a couple of fouls, but no 2-minute penalties. That time he stopped Jim Gabarra, who gets a dangerous free kick now. Left wing side, and he goes for it. It's blocked by the wall of Mitchell and Whitman. Bounces back out into center to Ben Collins, now over on the right-hand side to Paul Dougherty. Dougherty has nothing up that side, so he pulls it back to Hermes, a goal scorer tonight. Up for Wes Wade. Wesley always hustling and running for the ball. Everything moves on Wes Wade. That excites the fans in San Diego. He's a hustler to begin with, but with the hair flowing and the arms waving, and he's got excellent speed. He's going to play for the Nomads this coming summer instead of going back to Arizona to play down there where he's played the last couple of years in the NPSL. Here's Bronco Segota. National Professional Soccer League. There'll be a new look to that league this coming summer. Now Paul Dougherty working with Segota, top of the arc. Off to Hermes, who miskicks it to Whitman, and San Diego will gain possession back in their half of the field. David Banks will play it back behind his own line to goalkeeper Sava Biller, who leads in this one 4-3 here in the third. Delighted to have you along for the ride tonight here on TV 51, San Diego Sports Channel, as they continue to expose indoor soccer to Southern California. Mark Metric now, Billy Ronson, and in for Mobilio, where he is so dangerous. Mobilio positioned perfectly inside the box, just outside the goalkeeper crease, and the entrance pass by Billy Ronson was on the money, and it's 4-4 here in the Baltimore Arena. Dominic Mobilio now with career goal number 101 as he kicks the ball into the stands. It was Metric first, dropping it for Ronson. Ronson left wing side entrance pass, and look how all alone Dominic Mobilio is. David Banks is on the line, but he can't make the intercept. Wad Hermes was back too far to make any difference in that goal, as Mobilio finished strong for his 32nd goal of the year. Ronson gets his second assist of the night, his 26th of the season. The goal coming at 4:27 of the third period. And once again, this game is tied at 4 goals apiece. San Diego coming back. Paul Wright rebounding a missed Segota shot. Right up in the air, collision course with Joe Barger, and it's stripped out of there by Mike Reynolds in the center for Ronson. Ronson quickly up to Barger, tracked by Alex Golovnia down the right wing side, and hanging on is Barger, commits the foul. Joe Barger, another young Baltimore Blast player. Kenny Cooper seems to bring him along every year. Barger is in his second season. Mobilio from Ronson at 4:27 follows a Golovnia unassisted goal, and it's 4-4. Now they say that Baltimore will get the restart. Foul will be called on Golovnia, not on the aforementioned Barger. Savage pull tops it back for Ronson, who fires away, blocked by Bronco Segota over into the San Diego bench. These two teams get together, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be a well-played, hard-fought, tight game. 3 previous games have all ended with the visitor winning, and it's all been 1-goal victories. Sava Biller up to take one on the volley inside the area. Gets his distribution out to Paul Wright, but that's broken up by Savage and Ronson. Now Savage all alone, squaring for Mitchell, then followed up by Mitchell and by Ronson. Again, it's Savage with the ball on right wing, but his pass is errant, picked off by Wright, and San Diego's got numbers. Up for Kevin Crow, fires away high over the crossbar as San Diego had a 3-on-1 break. Sox keep it alive. Golovnia up for Crow, intercepted by Savage. You go end to end here in the Baltimore Arena, and you can go fast end to end in this place. Ronson had 2 attempts. Mitchell 1 at the other end, and then San Diego did a heck of a job of creating the transition. There's Ronson's shot, a second shot by Ronson. Now Mitchell gets a chance at it. He side wheels it, broken up by San Diego, but first Savage makes an errant pass. Back to the live action, collected down by Scott Manning on his end of the field, which is on the far left-hand side of your TV 51 screen. Victor Noguera, if you will, getting a night off tonight. First time in 30 games. San Diego has a 16-14 record, and Kenny Cooper getting a little gray around the temples and in front. But he still has his coat on. Yes, indeed he does. That gray looks good on Kenny. He's getting up there in age. There's a shot by San Diego's Wad Hermes, blocked by Manning. I don't know if he knew that ball was coming on him or not, and we get a handball on David Banks in center. Shot was taken right out in front by Wad Hermes, and in heavy traffic, I think that Scott Manning on that play was unsighted because of Metric and just made a reactionary save when he saw the ball all of a sudden on him. Of course, he was positioned properly, else he wouldn't have made the save. Mobilio working outside now with Stankovic. Stankovic in the neutral third of the field, hounded by David Banks. Up for Troy, fouled by Paul Dougherty. Dominic Mobilio is not 19 years of age. He's 21. Seems like yesterday he was 19, but he had to be 20 before he became 21. Ball wrapped around to Metric, who heads it towards Save Biller, who parries it away. Ball loose and a foul called down in the corner on the 21-year-old Dominic Mobilio. We'll be able to see Save Biller in action as he gets good coverage on that shot from outside. Punches it down, and the Sox are on the attack. Right side, Mike Collins and Rod Castro working. Players go into the boards, and they call Castro for the push. Mobilio is a native of Vancouver, British Columbia. This is his third year with the Blast and third year in the league. An intercept by Castro. Here comes the rocket down. A sliding tackle by Stankovic is a good tackle and dispossesses the attacker, Rod Castro. Play on, says Toros Cabrician, and Collins will. Out to Dougherty. Dougherty in center. Off for Collins. Plays a 1-2 with Dougherty. Off the wall. Ben Collins now working left wing side against Stankovic. Off the wall for himself. Out comes Scott Manning to cover up not only the ball, but himself, because Collins was coming in on him. Gets his outlet right up the middle to Whitman, who moves it on the right side to Stankovic, who fires away, and Save Biller down to make the stop. He's very positive when he's on the ball, when he makes his saves. You have a feeling of extreme confidence when he has his hands on that ball. He seems to have good hands. Got beat by a little heel shot tonight on one goal. And a couple of other goals that were pretty darn good goals by the Baltimore Blast. Here's Paul Wright, who scored one 3 seconds into the game. For Gabera, off for Paul Wright. It ricochets off of Mike Reynolds and almost past Scott Manning. Sox try to keep it alive in the attacking half of the field. Jimmy Gabera will drag it back, however, over his own line, and 29-year-old Biller up to play it off to Paul Wright. Ball marked up now by Mike Reynolds, plays it square to the near side. Kevin Crowe there. He'll play it back to Juan Hermes, who just came on, and bench change by San Diego. Up for Segota, who posts up Barger. Segota off the wall. Crowe making a run. Here's Paul Wright running in on a collision course with Collins. Make that Ronson as the ball goes out of play. 6:34 to go here in the third. A 4-all tie. We've got a lot of soccer left. Stay with us. We'll be back. Fans treated to a pretty good ball game here in the Baltimore Arena. 4-all tie, and fans of the world champion Sockers are invited to stop by the souvenir stands at the Sports Arena at the next home game. Of course, that next home game coming up on February the 1st. And check out the latest Sockers shirts, caps, buttons, pennants, and much, much more. You'll also find merchandise featuring the other 7 clubs in the MSL, including player trading cards, I might add. Fans wishing to order this year by mail can do so. We've got a catalog for you. Simply call the Sockers office at 224-GOAL. That's 224-4625. During normal business hours. I guess that would be Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. That's a Dolly Parton hour. Sox with the ball now as they collect it loose in center. Jacques Ladouceur out there losing it to Joe Barger. Retrieved by Wes Wade. He bangs into Dominic Mobilio. Boy, I'd hate to have Wes banging to me with that cast on his right hand. That thing is, I mean, that's like a hunk of rock. Plaster cast. Can kind of do a little forearm shiver. That'll get the guy off of you quick. Ladouceur fouling down in the Baltimore third of the field. Jacques, the veteran, back out for his second year after a nice career in the league. Steals it. 1-year hiatus to go in business for himself, and he's doing very fine in that business, I might add. And he's back playing soccer, of course, for his second stint with the Sockers. Shot taken from the left wing. Actually, it was going to be an entry pass by Stankovic. It's collected by the goalkeeper. His outlet, however, is intercepted by Mobilio. And then we get a stoppage in the action by Toros Cabrician, and Alex Golovnia is giving Toros a pretty good tongue lashing right there. Alex, who isn't the most fluent in English, of course Toros isn't the most fluent in English, so they might get along pretty good. Crowe's errant pass will find Rod Castro, however, over on the far board side, and then they'll bring it back to Golovnia at the line. Alex off for Sava. Sava very positively up for Mike Collins, and the ball stripped away on the ricochet by Tim Whitman. Down to Golovnia, who taps it back with the right instep to Biller. Rod Castro hammered as he tries to get the long outlet pass. Mark Metrick doing the number on Rocket Rod. Rod out of Indiana and Metrick out of Philadelphia Textile, products of our collegiate system. Rod's going to have to take a little respite here on the plastic grass. He got hammered pretty good by Metrick. Take a look as Bill Taylor comes out to see to him. Castro shielding, and he got it right there in the small of the back with the left forearm by Mark Metrick, and then he does a little ricochet off the boards, catching himself with the hands, but he might have clipped his chin on the board when he went over there. You can see the body. Oh, that's great camera work, guys. Well, I'll tell you what, anybody that thinks this game is easy, soccer indoors, hey, you're playing against immovable objects. And these bodies take a hammering on the plexiglass, on the fiberglass boards, on the grass, and on the other players out there on the field. So Rod will walk off. There's Ben Collins. He seems to be holding the back of his head, or maybe he just had a scratch or an itch. I guess you have an itch and you scratch it. But he nonetheless was scratching his head. Jacques Ladouceur, along with Jimmy Guevara, Wes Wade waiting for their turn. You can see the assistant coach, Brian Quinn, over there organizing things on the player bench, along with Ron Newman. Bronco Segota on the restart. Paul Dougherty tries to rebound it toward Manning and miskicks it on the outside of his left foot and puts it out of play, so it'll be a goal kick for Manning. A 4-all tie here in the third period. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight on TV 51, and we'll be back on TV 51. We'll be back on February 3rd. We're talking about restarts. You have to be 15 feet now away from the man that has the ball that's restarting it from a dead ball position. That's a new rule this year, 15 feet away. So consequently, you can see Manning there, see the red dot over on the upper part of your screen. When a guy has a corner kick, he puts the ball there. That means the defense has to be 15 feet away. That puts them inside the penalty box. That has been a big factor this year. The goals are up big time. They're up from 8 a game, 8+ a game, to over 11 a game. That's a combination goals by the two teams playing in any one given game throughout the course of the season thus far. Here's a chance for Tim Whitman, and he slides one across the mouth of Sava Biller's goal. The ball comes out to Stankovic outside. So when we say restart, you know what we're talking about, hopefully. Mark Metrick with an entry pass, slides right through the penalty box area, comes out the left wing side to Paul Dougherty. 5'2", eyes of blue, slides one across the grass for Segota, who lets one go with the right foot wide of the far post. Rebound to Rusty Troy, a 4-all game. Pace still pretty good out here in the third period. We were tied at the half, and when the Sox are tied at halftime, well, we'll talk about that when we come back. 4:14 to go in the third period. The Blast and the Sox tied at 4 apiece. We talked about the San Diego Sockers being tied at the half, 3-3 when they're tied at the half. Overall, they are 1-3. We're going to take a look at a restart once again. I think that we need to explain that a little more in detail for you. A restart by by Bronco Segota, and Mike Stankovic had to position himself 15 feet from that dead ball restart. Anything closer would be called encroachment, and it would be an infraction, of course, on Baltimore. Now we get a different type of restart. It's a goal kick by Sava Biller, as the ball was played out by Baltimore just before we left you for the break. Biller will get it back, and he can handle from David Banks and lifts it long with the throw up to Rod Castro. So San Diego 1-3 overall when they are tied in a game at the half. After 3 periods, we'll check that and see where they stand, because their record changes drastically, especially if they're in the lead. Another restart, and Felix Folksman will move Barger back to the 15-foot mark. Juan Hermes firing it right into heavy traffic in the box, and it's cleared off by the Blast into center. Ben Collins has it there, momentarily stripped away. Rusty Troy got the ball for the Blast momentarily, and now Segota collects one, traps it down nicely. The instep trap. Over on the left wing side to Paul Wright. He'll take on Bruce Savage, and then double teamed by Barger. Out for Wad Hermes. Over for David Banks, and the rookie defender had that ball on him real quick and unable to control it. The ball just went off of David and out of play up into the stands behind Scott Manning. As we told you earlier, this is Scott's first start now in 5 games, or make it 6 games. He sat out 5 games. Scotty comes in. This is his 17th start. He's played prior to tonight almost 1,000 minutes with an even record of 8-8. Now that next to Victor Noguera, who played 28 straight ball games and 1,675 minutes before getting a break tonight and giving way to Sava Biller. Foul called on San Diego. The 2 defenders down there, Ben Collins and Alex Golovnia, sending Dominic Mobilio to the carpet. But I believe that they're going to call the foul on Sava Biller. Ron Newman looks on. Bronco Segota says it's my turn to come on. He'll go forward as San Diego takes the free kick, and now Mike Collins makes a change, and he comes on as San Diego makes the bench changes. Oh, nice play by Paul Wright, getting around Joe Barger momentarily on the right wing. Still in the center. Ben Collins working against Savage. Tries to play it into Mike Collins, and the ball is headed away and up into the stands. So San Diego's going to get a free kick from the left wing side. Sockers coming in with a 16-12 record, as we mentioned at the half. They trail St. Louis by 1 game in the Western Division. Tacoma, who is hosting St. Louis tonight, is 2.5 games back. We will not have any type of partial on that one because it starts later over on the West Coast. However, we should have some sort of result in from Cleveland and Dallas. And it is 1-0 at the half. Cleveland leading the sidekicks. 1-0 at the half. Cleveland over Dallas. Segota on the restart from the corner. Out to Paul Dougherty, who fires away, blocked at point-blank range by Rusty Troy. You know, we talked earlier about banging bodies into the boards and what have you. Don't think that ball doesn't smart a bit too when it whacks you at about 70 miles an hour, or maybe an average of 60 miles an hour. Segota's one of a handful of guys that can rocket that ball at 70+ miles an hour. He did 78 at the All-Star Skills Contest last year. All-Star game coming up February 13th from the Kemper Arena. It's going to be a big affair this year because the All-Star game will be combined with the College Showcase and the College Draft all in one this year, and the league meetings to boot. So a lot of activity from the 10th of February to the 13th of February. Be interesting to see now these all-star selections, because there's a few veterans as Sava Biller clears his zone out to center to Mike Stankovic. A few of the veterans that are getting near the twilight of their career that have been perennial all-stars maybe don't have the necessary stats and what have you to get on the team. But players do the voting, so we'll have to wait and see. See who Ron Newman gets on the West squad, and he gets to name the additional players, as does Kenny Cooper for the East squad. Look out, Mobilio wide open, and Sava Biller makes a save. A header on the ricochet by Metric goes high, and Barger collects it in the corner, but San Diego double teams over there. Mike Collins, Paul Dougherty, and Bronco Segota, and it's Mike Collins laying on the floor, kicking it away for San Diego with 1:17 to go in the 3rd period. High pressure out in front, a little forechecking by San Diego will win the ball back. That was good defensive play by Alex Golovnia. Bronco Segota now has a ball to settle right at the Baltimore red line, but he'll play it off the wall, and he won't get the good ricochet inside the box for Paul Dougherty, and that's who he was looking for inside. Scott Manning very happy to see that ball sail over the dasher boards. Dominic Mobilio off of Sava Biller, and a header by Metric off the glass. So we remain level at 4 goals apiece inside a minute to go. Matter of fact, as Scott Manning plays the ball from his own goal area, 58 seconds remain here in the 3rd. Now between the 3rd and 4th period, we'll have a chance to get our Auto Trader Reserve coaches report from the head man of the San Diego Sockers, Ron Newman. He'll join us between periods. Outlet up to Dale Mitchell. Mitchell and Ronson always so dangerous along with Mobilio, and Ronson has it now in center, left wing side. Tries to roll one up to Mitchell, but pulls it a little too much, and Biller there to collect it inside his area. David Banks trying to send it out wide. Loose ball in center for Wes Wade. Nice shielding job, allowing Wade to get the ball by Jacques Ladouceur, but Wade's pass to Ladouceur broken up by Stankovic, who loses it to David Banks. Back and forth, up and down. Ladouceur off the wall, long rebound out to Mitchell in center. Back to Ronson. Ronson and Mitchell working the ball up, and now Stankovic broken up by Crow. Mitchell with a loose ball. Mitchell with a drive and a save by Biller. Loose ball in the box, cleared off by David Banks. As time runs down, Whitman will send one into San Diego zone, and we have completed 3/4 of this contest, and we're just like we were at the half. And before we started the ball game, dead level. This time, 4 goals apiece as the coaching staff talk it over for San Diego. It's the Blast 4, the Sockers 4. Fourth period coming your way right after this. Time now for the Sockers Auto Trader Coaches Report, so let's go down to the field. Ron Newman standing by, and Ron, so far so good with your rookie goalkeeper in there. He's got you in the game level at 4. I
think he's doing great. I'm absolutely delighted with him. And of course, this is probably going to be his worst one because he's learning every minute of the game. So I think it'll be great if we can win this one for Sava.
Ron, you have a natural matchup now with the speed of Paul Wright and the absence of Angelo Panzetta. Any plans in the fourth period to isolate Wright on some of the slower defenders of Baltimore?
Well, we like to get him on as many slow ones, but there, of course, counteract that. And they got Whitman. Whitman's very quick as well. So they got quite a bit of speed, and I think they're moving the ball forward quite quickly. When they get it going, we just got to try and counterattack them if they're not successful.
Typical San Diego Soccer Baltimore Blast game, Coach.
It's a great game.
We'll see, and we appreciate the visit here on the Sockers Auto Trader Coaches Report. Good luck in the fourth period, Coach.
Thank you, Dick.
And by the way, for that efficient, inexpensive advertising, pick up your copy of the Auto Trader Reserve. We've heard from Ron Newman. He's happy with the play of Sava Biller, who has now moved into the nets on your left-hand side of your screen. 30 shots for Baltimore through 3 periods, 21 for the San Diego Sockers. We're still level at 4 goals apiece. Sava, by the way, has made a total of 16 saves. Manning has only gone to the well 8 times. Attendance tonight, 9,417, an outstanding crowd here in the Baltimore Arena. 9,417, and the crowds are picking up in the Major Soccer League. Here's Sava having to collect and touch it for the first time here in the fourth period. Sockers with the ball. Let's set them for you now. Kevin Crow's out there along with Rod Castro, Jimmy Gabera, Alex Golovnia, and Jacques Ladouceur. There'll be a change most probably as Wes Wade will come on. Baltimore has the ball. So Wes Wade, the very unique defensive runner for the San Diego Sockers. Unique in that he not only runs defensively, he'll stay on there at the coach's wish when the transition turns the ball over to the Sockers because of his speed up front. Crow tracking Joe Barger over to the far board side. A tie game here. We're in the fourth and final period of regulation time. Timmy Whitman, who Coach Newman said would probably try to pick up Paul Wright. He has the most speed of any Blast player out there. There's a shot, and it's wide by Barger. He goes down in a heap with Ladouceur, and the ball up in the air for Jimmy Gabera to try to tap it back upfield. They've given Kevin Crow an assist on Alex Golovnia's goal. Golovnia's 6th of the year. That goal came in the third period. So Crow not only has a goal, but also has an assist tonight. Rusty Troy tries to lambaste one out on the far right point. San Diego still looking for that ball to get downfield and get into the attack. They have yet to be down in the Baltimore end here in the fourth period. Stankovic and Rusty Troy working that right side, and Jacques Ladouceur biting at the heels of Rusty Troy. Dale Mitchell now goes over as Troy gives way for the dead ball free kick. Sent it across, and again to the head of Mark Metrick. Now Metrick's been in there all night long, and he's had a couple of very good chances on head balls, but One was off the glass, and that one was over the top of the glass. So it'll be a goal kick for Sava Biller, as Metric will take a respite. I said Mark Metric, English-born player, has really come into his own as a defender in this league. And he's been trained and played alongside of one of the very best in Bruce Savage. So he's learned good habits from Bruce Savage. Savage is as solid as the Rock of Gibraltar in his 8th year out of Hollywood, Florida. Biller with the left foot this time up for Rod Castro as he uses the boards to find Castro. San Diego's ball from center. Banks lifts one down over the blast line. Savage there to play it back into center. Baltimore with Reynolds working Mobilio, now Stankovic. Delighted to have you along on TV 51 tonight. We're in the 4th period, and it's 4-4. The Blast and the Sockers, last year's finalist in the MSL, and for that matter, perennial finalist. They have gone against each other in the championship so many times, and of course the championship last year, the 6th MSL championship for the San Diego Sockers, decided right here in this arena. Ben Collins, Benrus 2. That's his name, and 2 is T-double-O. So we could also call it, or we could call him Benrus also, or Ben also. Paul Wright. All just working Stankovic, then letting it for Collins. Michael's shot is wide, saved by Bronco Segota. We haven't seen Hermes of late. I wonder if Waddy is injured. Remember I told you his hand was all bandaged up? Wad has been absent on the floor in the last couple of shifts. Shot to goal by Paul Wright. Is he hot, and is he something else? Paul Wright is becoming a bona fide star of this MSL. He can do it inside, he can do it outside, he can run the floor, and he has just put San Diego up 5-4 with 12 minutes to go. You don't think he can score outside? Outside the red line. Work on Stankovic. He's been doing that for a while. And look at this right-footed shot, finds the far post perfectly low to Manning's right hand, and that's where you got to play it. So 5-4 as Paul Wright scores his 2nd of the match. And Mike Collins will get the assist. That's goal number 23 for Paul. It'll be interesting to see. Is Paul Wright going to the All-Star game? Well, you would think he certainly deserves it. That goal comes at the 3-minute mark. Now we're inside 12 minutes remaining here in the 4th and final period. Baltimore on the attack. Billy Ronson using the boards. Kicked away from Sava Biller by defender Jim Gabera. It is Jim Gabera out there defending right now. He's on the back line with Alex Golovnia. Paul Dougherty and the other defender by position only, Ben Collins, is up in midfield as San Diego finally clears the zone. That'll force Joe Barger to run down and retrieve it. Now Collins goes off. On comes Kevin Crow to join Golovnia at the back. Jimmy Gabera. Wes Wade has some space, but Wes won't get to the ball. Paul Dougherty will, and he'll play Wes Wade. We get a foul called, however, and the foul is called on Wes Wade. For Wade, that'll be his 1st of the 2nd half. Nobody in foul trouble on the Sockers, a bunch of them with 1. The only guy that has more than 1 in the ball game here in the 2nd half, Dominic Mobilio of the Baltimore Blast. Little back pass by Gabera finds Biller. Wright's 23rd came at the 3-minute mark from Mike Collins, his 4th assist of the season. San Diego leading at 5-4. This is the 4th encounter this year between these two intra-division foes. I guess it would be inter-division foes, would it not? Yes. Well, that's another line violation, giving the Blast a free kick, and look out. Mike Stankovic wasted no time on that service from Ronson, but he smacked it off the glass. Held in by Timmy Whitman over to the right wing side for Big Mike. Mike Stankovic out of Yugoslavia. Now in his 10th season in the MSL. He's a load, 6 foot, 185. Keeps himself in exceptionally good shape. Smart player. But as he gets a little older, he gets a few more 2-minute penalties. I noticed that is shown up on the charts of late. Here's Metric being intercepted by David Banks, using the boards nicely to free up Segota. Segota in center, angles away from the defender. Now comes over the line, tries to split Stankovic and Ronson, but it rolls through to Scott Manning, and he gets his outlet that goes through center and then ricochets over to Whitman on left wing side. Back to Stankovic, picked up by Banks at the red line. Stankovic trying to set up the ball. Nothing there against Banks, so he gives it up to Whitman. Timmy lifts one over the top of the defense for Mitchell and then takes it back down in the corner on the left wing side. Banks on him, will foul him, and now Wad Hermes is back out there. Wad Hermes is back on the floor, so evidently Waddy is okay. They just changing more guys than the normal 2 in his midfield position. Segota and Hermes will mark up 15 feet away from the ball on this dead ball restart, or free kick if you will. Ladouceur and Crow along with Banks inside the area. Back outside for Ronson. Ronson's shot. There's Whitman on the doorstep and unable to answer the call as Segota clears it off out of the penalty box, I should say, but held in by Ronson and the Baltimore Blast. And Billy Ronson looks more dangerous every time he comes down the floor. Here's Whitman. Crow again trying to clear it off. Mark Metric turning on Jacques Ladouceur, who blocked it out of play. So the Baltimore Blast letting it all hang out, trying to equalize here with 9:16 to go in the 4th period. Jacques Ladouceur out there defending, and boy, I'll tell you what, it got busy around Sava Biller's goal. He went down. Billy Ronson and Dale Mitchell working right along the edge of the wall there, just to the left of Sava Biller. Now it's a restart. Pull topped by Mitchell. Back for Stankovic. Mike plays it wide out here to the near board side, but still in center to Whitman, who rolls it up over the line, intercepted by Gabera. Played back down by Troy. Loose ball for Mitchell. Whistle blows off the ball. A foul called on San Diego. First foul called on Kevin Crow. Again, Mitchell on the restart. A lot of space now behind that wall. They put it into Timmy Whitman, and it's cleared off, and Crow's got a breakaway. He heads it down for himself. Crow in on goal, and Scott Manning getting all tangled up with Crow, able to stop it, but Crow gets it right back. I thought they'd call something there with Crow running into the goalkeeper. Scott held his ground. Scott down there telling the guys to get back defensively, as San Diego now has a solid ball possession in the Baltimore Blast third of the field. However, West Wade will lose it. Here comes Stankovic the other way. 8.5 minutes to go in the 4th. Stankovic and Savage, right wing side, marking up Golovnia and Ladouceur. Now the ever dangerous Dominic Mobilio. How did he get 21 so fast? He was just 19 a year ago. I think he went right by 20, yeah. Mike Reynolds, former collegiate at George Mason, off for Stankovic. He'll lose it, and he'll send Wes Wade down, and Wes is hurt. Getting up slow with Ladouceur going up the left wing side, now angling in the center. Wes seems to be okay as he gains his feet. He's the only one back now with Sava Biller. Sava gets over the line and dumps one nicely for Paul Wright. Kept alive by Golovnia, and the attack to Segota. Bronco up for a posted up Mike Collins high at the red line against Rusty Troy. Nothing there, so they'll bring it back to Kevin. Crow will go back to his goalkeeper. Wide out to David Banks, back upfield. Bronco Segota trying to head it upfield. Loose ball for Paul Wright to knock down into the Baltimore Blast third. And then flagged out by Rusty Troy. Biller's way out of goal. Here's Dominic Mobilio. Bruce Savage shot save Biller. Baltimore still on the attack with Savage, Barger, and Rusty Troy. 7:12 to go in the 4th period. Always a good one when San Diego and Baltimore play. Loose ball, Biller going up, trying to get it. The ball across the mouth of the goal off the head of Joe Barger, and Bronco Segota will play with it along the red line and then tap it forward to Paul Wright. David Banks gets his pass and sends it long for Mike Collins. Collins has got Savage marking him up down in the corner. Tough man checking you, Michael. Try to do something with it in the corner, and he gets the ball frozen against the corner. Down goes Barger inside the box, and what will Toros Kribrichin call there? Drop ball? Yes, he will. had it frozen against the wall, and, you know, no advantage either way. That's about the best way to keep everybody healthy and nobody hurt out there. Collins knocked down by Mike Reynolds, and Reynolds will clear the ball off, but he can't find Dominic Mobilio up the left wing side. 9,417 in attendance tonight, with rookie goalkeeper Sava Biller leading the veteran Scott Manning 5-4 with 6:10 to go in the fourth. Paul Wright, the jet, fires away. He's high, wide, and not very handsome. With 6:04 to go in the fourth period, San Diego holding on precariously to that 1-goal lead. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, you can now play like the pros on the Soccer Sports Arena field, either before or after a home game, with a minimum purchase of 150 tickets to a single game. Now, you'll get to play on the field for an hour and play under rules of your choice. If your team needs help in finding an opponent, the Sockers can assist you in that. So for more information on how you can play like the pros on the Sports Arena field, call the Sockers office at 224-GOAL. That's 224-4625. A 5-4 game here in the Sports Arena. Baltimore in possession now as they get the restart. Scott Manning will get it back from Timmy Whitman. Timmy, who played here at Calvert Hall High School, signed with the Blast at age 17. Stankovic stopped by Jimmy Gabera. Now Gabera upfield on the run gets the service from Paul Dougherty. Ball being knocked around, loose at the Blast red line. Bronson unable to clear it upfield to Stankovic because Wes Wade was there. Now Paul make that Ben Collins working down in the left wing corner. Collins marked up by Tim Whitman, holding on and sending Collins to the floor, and the ball loose for Scott Manning. Good overhead outlet up to Mitchell. Mitchell leaves it for Ronson. Here's Ronson shooting off the deflection of Wad Hermes. Hermes getting back goal side of that ball and deflecting Billy Ronson's shot up into the stands. And of course, we have told you on many occasions that Ronson is the leading scorer for the Baltimore Blast. We'll look at the whole play. Great outlet by Manning. Here's Mitchell with a little pull top, heeling it back for Ronson, and Ronson with a lot of space, and that's what you look for. But look at this. No. Yeah. It did not hit Wad Hermes. I thought he deflected it. It was just poorly struck by Billy Ronson, and you don't see young Billy doing that very often. It hit one of, yeah, and that's a good call by our director. It hit one of those waves in the carpet, I think. So Baltimore shot by Paul Dougherty. Nice save by Manning. Baltimore a victim of their own surface here on that particular play by Billy Ronson. We told you earlier there's a lot of wavy bumps in this carpet. Alex Golovnia working with Kevin Crow at the back. Dougherty and Hermes are the midfield players, and Segota is the forward or the striker on this line. Segota comes back out to show for the ball. Now plays it over to Hermes. Hermes is tapped away by Stitch, as they call him. It's Dale Mitchell's nickname. Up for Bronco. Bronco using the glass trying to find Paul Wright. Now look out. Dale Mitchell gets a loose ball, and he's all alone as he's closed down by Wad Hermes. Good double team by David Banks as he comes over. Banks will clear it out to Paul Wright and do an excellent job of defending and getting the ball out of there. Hermes needed help. San Diego coming back with Segota, Crow, and Wright. Crow sending one in, looking for Segota, who continued his run inside the box, and Crow gets it right back out on that right wing. Now Collins plays it into Segota. Segota fires away, and Manning was able to trap it against his body and then against the wall. Another good outlet by Scott Manning. He's been doing it for a lot of years. Rusty Troy and Stankovic in center. Segota forechecking, and Troy turns it over as he plays it into the San Diego bench. So he'll turn it over to the San Diego Sockers with 3:38 to go. Watching down now to the Blast bench. Yes, Kenny Cooper's got the coat off. That's Jim Pollahan to his right, his able-bodied assistant. Outstanding pair of coaches there. They've worked together a lot of years. Very close. But you can see Cooper trying to fire up his charges with his coat off. We'll take a look at this ball by Ronson once again. See that big kind of a dark spot there? That's a wave. That's a wave in the carpet. Here comes Ronson. The ball hits that wave and comes up for him, and that's what caused it. What good eyes on our crew down in the truck. It hit the wave, popped up on Ronson. Ronson unable to adjust to that and skied it out of play. So this carpet that has drawn a lot of criticism by the teams in the MSL, and including the Baltimore Blast, saved the Sockers maybe there.
Superstructure violation, San Diego.
Now we're going to get a call. Toros Kabrichin has come over to the assistant, and he is just informing him that a 6th attack is on now. Scott Manning has gone off, and Billy Ronson, who is the main 6th attacker. Ronson has been a 6th attacker for over 30 minutes this year, and the 9,000 fans, better than 9,000 fans in attendance tonight, on their feet clapping here as Ronson is now in the 6th attack. Mark the time down, 3:16, a 5-4 San Diego lead. Yeah, that sounds like the MSL of old. It's noisy in the Baltimore arena. Ronson and Mobilio, Stankovic, Whitman, Mitchell, and Metric. 6v5 out there, but the goal on the far side. Look out, Metric scores and ties. As I was saying, the goal on the far right-hand side is wide open, but the 6th attack is efficient. And for the Baltimore Blast, they now have gone under the 6th attack 18 times, scored 9 goals, and that's the 3rd time that they have equalized a score. It all started from the back. Stankovic over to Mark Metric, and that's his 2nd goal of the game. Metric from Stankovic. Metric's 13th of the year. Stankovic's 22nd assist comes at the 12-minute mark. There's 3 minutes remaining in this contest, and it's all tied up once again, 5-5. Scott Manning back in the ball game. Bronco Segota down on the attack. Segota working against Mike Reynolds. Segota, who has more championship rings than anybody, feeding Wad Hermes inside the box, stripped away by Whitman, off for Stankovic. Bronco, who has won championships in New York and San Diego. Ben Collins gets in front of Dale Mitchell and breaks it up, and he's going to go coast to coast. Collins firing away, and it's saved by Scott Manning. Ben trying to get his head on the rebound, and there was a boot up there. The ball goes out. I think they let's see who touched it. Before I say I think, let's see who touched it. Collins goes from one end to the other, deflected by Whitman, just barely wide of the left post and past Scott Manning's hand as Scott now directs traffic. So it'll be a corner kick for San Diego, right wing side. Segota will give way to Mike Collins. Collins just coming off the bench to trigger this ball in from the right wing corner. Segota will go outside and support him to his left, and the runs will come from the far side. Crow right, and David Banks lift it for Wright, who whiffs on the ball, then finds it down at his feet at the red line, tries to get it back in the corner to Mike Collins, then hits a little dying quail down there that Collins is able to save. Out for Segota, who scores, and he stuck it in the back of the net. It's still there. A kid comes over and dislodges it, and Bronco, with that over 70-mile-an-hour laser on his right foot, stuck that ball so hard it stuck in the back of the net at the post. And San Diego, with 2:14 to go, has gone in front once again. 6-5. Look for the 6th attacker. It's coming now. Bronco Segota from out in the right wing, where he was positioned after the restart, got the ball and hammered it so hard past Scott Manning, and right behind Bruce Savage, number 22 there, the ball is stuck in the back of the net. So Segota gets his 10th of the year from Collins. That's Mike Collins at 12:46. Buckle your seatbelts. The Blast trailing by a goal at 6-5 San Diego. Kick it off with Billy Ronson in the 6th attack. Mobilio, Stankovic, Metric, Out there with him along with Dale Mitchell. Sava Biller finds the ball in his penalty area, pushes off Mobilio and finds Paul Wright out on right wing side. If Paul can get by Stankovic, who boards him and fouls him, he would go in against the 6th attacker, and that's Billy Ronson. But Billy's serious about goalkeeping. He wears the gloves and the whole 9 yards out there. And not only is Billy Ronson the leading scorer for Kenny Cooper's side, Mike Stankovic just taking Paul Wright in. I think Stankovic has been given a 2-minute penalty. So the guy that leads all in penalty minutes in the MSL goes into the sin bin with 1:58 to go. What a break for San Diego. A power play opportunity for the San Diego Sockers as Paul Wright going up the right side was boarded by Mike Stankovic. 6-5 is our score, and you're listening and watching it all right here on KUSI TV 51, Channel 9 in San Diego, California. San Diego on the power play. They're the #1 power play unit in the MISL. 52.3% on the man advantage. Savi Biller getting all mixed up out there. He's completely out of it. Somebody's got to clear it off for him. He was out in Never Never Land. Remember, the San Diego Sockers have a man advantage, and there's a holding call on Paul Wright. So the shorthanded unit of the Baltimore Blast have a dead ball free kick outside the San Diego line. They're shorthanded because the goal is wide open, but remember, they're in the 6th attack. The goal is open. Hermes sending it long down the floor and into the back of the net, and it's 7-5. And with 1.5 minutes to go in this one, that might be too big a mountain for the Blast to climb. 6th attack or no 6th attack. A power play goal that was scored from inside the halfway line in the San Diego half of the field, about midway between the San Diego red line and the halfway line by Wad Hermes, with the goal wide open. If you live by the sword, in hockey and soccer, you sometimes have to die by the sword being the 6th attack. With that man in the penalty box, Wad Hermes scores his 2nd goal of the night, and his, I believe it's his 29th, I'm not sure. Double check that for me, will you please? 28th goal of the season. So Wad Hermes from Paul Wright in a power play at 13:32, and San Diego has a 7-5 advantage. Isn't it amazing that in this series, 4 games have been played up until tonight, all games. Let's listen to this. Another 2-minute penalty. Handball. And it'll be on the Baltimore Blast. That means Joe Barger will be the guy that'll come over and serve it for Billy Ronson. Yep, Billy with those gloves and all, outside the box, handballing. Can't do that when you're the goalkeeper, whether you're the 6th attack goalkeeper or the regular goalkeeper. So San Diego leading by 2 goals with 1:19 to go. Have another power play opportunity. Remember, the Sox, the #1 power play team in the MISL, they have now scored 24 goals in 45 times that they've been in the man advantage. This will be their 46th opportunity in the power play. Kevin Crow out there with Paul Wright. Ben Collins, Wad Hermes, Bronco Segota. Defending, Timmy Whitman, Mark Metrick, Dominic Mobilio, Bruce Savage, and of course the 6th attacker, Billy Ronson. Sava Biller down to Wad Hermes. He's got that left foot, but he selfishly tries to play it across. He saw Paul Wright starting to make a run, unable to do it. Back come the Baltimore Blast. Remember, San Diego led by 2 and 3 goals the last time they were in here, only to have Baltimore creep up to a 5-4 final. San Diego winning that one. Ronson's shot is parried away by Biller. Return shot upstairs by Dale Mitchell. 34 seconds to go, 1:15 to go on the penalty served by Joe Barger, the handball penalty on 6th attack goalkeeper Billy Ronson. And San Diego now has sent a lot of this 9,417 fans out into the cold, cold night, where it's reported around 20 degrees tonight in Charm City. Ron Newman, who matches up with Kenny Cooper. Well, what can I tell you? It's just the best that the MSL has to offer when those two teams get together, and 2 outstanding coaches like Ron Newman and Kenny Coop. He's got to be a little down. He lost last night 9-3 in Cleveland after holding a share of first place in the Eastern Division. And now Savi Biller gets the ball, passed back to him, and he's going to call a timeout. So Ron Newman wants a timeout with 31 seconds to go. He has that option, of course. Both coaches have an optional timeout in each half. So Ron Newman will call the timeout. Again, repeating last night, Cleveland, with 9 different players scoring, defeated the Baltimore Blast by a score of 9-3. And San Diego, of course, knocked off in the lowest scoring game so far this year in the MSL, 2-1 at the hands of St. Louis. So with San Diego leading here 7-5, they should take this one, and that will move them within a half game of St. Louis, pending the outcome of St. Louis-Tacoma tonight over on the West Coast. They're playing later. We gave you the halftime score of the Dallas-Cleveland game, which was 1-0 Cleveland over the Sidekicks at the half. We have no further report on that game. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight, and we remind you, we'll be back with you on Sunday, the 3rd of February. Now we have a discussion between two old friends. I wonder what this is all about. Ron, I tell you what it's about. Kenny Cooper is upset that Ron called timeout. Yeah, Kenny is a little bit ticked off with 31 seconds that Ron called timeout. Ron tried to explain it to him, and Kenny is a little disturbed. I think more frustrated than anything else, losing 9-3 last night, and then, of course, having the late goal scored on him here to trail with just inside 30 seconds to go by 2 goals, 7-5. Remember, San Diego has the man advantage, and they're just going to pot shot to that open goal on the far right-hand side that Billy Ronson will try to hustle back and protect. He does. He brings it up the other way, looking for Mitchell, but he'll carry the glass and out of play. And young Sava Biller is now 12 seconds away from his first ever MSL victory in his first start in the Major Soccer League. 29-year-old Sava Biller was painting houses a few months back up in the Los Angeles area, and because of Eric Geyer and former San Diego Soccer Peter Skouras, he's going to be 1-0 in the MSL. Sox are going to let time run out. Stay with us. We'll recap this one for you after it's all over. 9,417 on hand here tonight. Another reminder that we will be back with you on TV 51 on February the 3rd, as now Ron Newman will go over and shake with Jimmy Pollahan and Kenny Cooper. So it's all over, and Cooper is such a pro. They're patting each other now, and they understand, and Cooper understands, and the frustration, I think, is over with. And Ron Newman has won 3 straight games here in Baltimore. The final score here tonight, 7 for the Sox, 5 for the Blast. Stay with us. We'll be back with a recap of this one tonight right after this.